What is up, everybody? Welcome to the feast, episode number 86, the show where you submit replays, we cast them. I'm Delthius. How's it going, guys? I know I've been a little absent here lately, but I am here now, and we are going to have some fun tonight. So, there's a lot of stuff going on in Tooth and Tail right now. We just got a big new patch, which kind of pushed me to do the show like right now, because I have a really big backlog of replays from patch 1.4. That I wanted to at least get to a few of them and try to showcase them. What's going on, everybody? Good to see y'all. Witty Pun, Sky Raider, my boy P Boop. But yeah, I've been doing good, man. I wanted to do a show like last Friday or the Friday before. I've just been so slammed at work, man. I've been exhausted, to be perfectly honest, but it's good. Yeah, man, I actually might start doing this a little bit more often again. You know, I really enjoy casting and analyzing games in general, so I've been thinking, I'm not committing to anything just yet, but I might pick up my streaming game a little bit, either here on ToothAndTailTV, making Tooth and Tail content, or on my other channel, Delthius TV, doing other games and such, maybe a little bit of both. But I want to start off tonight. Let me see if I can do this correctly without DDoSing myself. Boom? Okay. I think that's right. And then we do this. Yes. Okay, perfect. So, we've got a tournament coming up, guys. 2v2 Bizarre Random RNG FTW. Me and AV Ultima will be casting this on July 13th at 1 p.m. EST. Premium Boat doing the tournament organizing for us, and this is going to be a fun one, man. I'm always kind of impressed by the creativity of tournaments that we come up with in the Tooth and Tail scene, and this one is no exception to that rule. It is a 2v2 tournament that is just totally random. Random teammates, random decks, and then the standard random maps. It's going to be best of 3 format with the best of 5 grand finals with the loser bracket, and it's going to be a lot of fun. Instead of signing up as a team, you're just going to sign up as an individual player. I think I'm literally going to draw names from a hat. Like, I was going to whip up some like Excel formula or something to do, you know, a random number selection and link that to a player, but no, man. We're going to do literal hat drawing live on camera. I think that'll be a lot of fun. So that's coming up soon. I'm hoping to get another show out before then. What is today? Today's the 24th. So I'm thinking like next Friday or Saturday, like the 5th or the 6th, I'll try to do another stream. And we'll take it from there. But I'm going to need some new patch replays to be able to do that. So since I kind of don't want to beat the dead horse too bad with outdated replays, you know, make sure if there's new players tuning in to try to pick up some strategies or something, they're looking at the latest version of the game. We are doing old patch replays tonight. The new patch just hit today, courtesy of Illuminatus. And by the way, big shout out to Illuminatus getting promoted, an official Pocketwatch Games member now as a developer there. Focusing on Tooth and Tail as Andy and the team continue forward with their new project. So, Eel managed to implement a patch, which I think is very, very close to the Mishi's Madness mod. Let me see if I can pull up those patch notes real quick and do a little chatteroni about them. So that just hit today with a ladder reset, which I'm super excited about. I think the scene has really been wanting a ladder reset for quite some time. And so I think a lot of people are really happy about that. Okay, so we've got the patch notes here. And so the ladder reset, obviously a big thing we've all been super hyped about. Some quality of life improvements for achievement fiends on Steam, looking to gather all those achievement points as possible. And then, of course, the big kit and caboodle here, the multiplayer changes. So real quickly, kind of going through this list. So Daze is only going to slow down movements instead of decrease the attack speed. And I like that change. You know, I get why mines were kind of designed with the attack speed nerf originally, you know, as they were patched moving forward, I should say. But it makes sense, you know, mines became very abusive in that niche use. I'm curious to see if we're going to see mines be selected in high-level play moving forward, but I think the movement speed debuff might be enough. The focus fire, I think, is a great quality of life improvement. So basically, when you're focusing in on a specific unit, you can basically just use your drum fire to shoot directly at something, for example, like just target with that, or your balloons and that sort of thing. I think that's really cool. That adds a little bit more strategic depth, and not necessarily strategic depth, I should say, more like tactical depth, allowing a little bit more micro for players who abuse those sorts of things. A little bit of a mole nerf here. I think most people are kind of in agreement about this. Lowering the DPS a little bit, lowering the crit multiplier. So I like that change a lot personally, because moles were kind of bullying lizards a little bit out of the meta. So we've got a toad change, which is actually going to be additional crit damage on structures, but only in the center of the tile rather than all structures in the AoE. So we're gonna have to see how this plays out. But at the same time, I'm thinking with the nerf to the moles, I think the toads can probably survive this change, because we'll see a lot more players running lizards in the days to come, and you'll definitely want those toads in your arsenal to deal with that. Chameleon getting a little bit of love here. I think most players in the scene agree with that. I think a lot of people love the core design of the Chameleon. It just can sometimes be difficult to actually utilize them compared to some of the other big tier 2 powerhouse units like the Skunks and Falcons. Speaking of Skunks, I love this change. A little bit of a HP nerf to the Skunks, but the big deal here is the cannot target commander, which I think is really great. Beforehand, your commander could get hit by the skunk gas clouds, which would allow these skunks to kind of pre-gas fights, essentially, and make them, a little bit more powerful than they were probably designed to be. So I like this kind of quality of life change. I think the one base skunk push timing was very, very strong, and it was kind of strong it wasn't game breaking, but it was kind of strong to the point where you really had to consider your entire strategy, like, okay, how am I going to deal with that skunk push, and I think this is going to add a little bit more flexibility to the compositions moving forward. Snake, let's take a look at this one. Poison is cured 5 seconds after last attack, regardless of territory. Used to be cured only inside own territory, and poison slows down now. Interesting. So the snakes kind of have additional utility here. They can be very, very good at closing down on a retreating army. However, they do lose a little bit of power as the poison gets cured now, rather than lasting, longer and longer if you're outside of your own territory. So maybe you can deal with snakes a little bit better if you're on the aggression, right? And you're really committing to a fight, because those units that are getting targeted down, well, if they don't continuously get targeted, they'll eventually stop being poisoned. However, if you try to retreat, the snake is going to be a lot more deadly than it was before. I'm interested to see a little bit of a snake wolf combo now, right? Like that's my knee-jerk reaction to that. Is let's speed up those snakes and let them apply that movement speed slow. I think that could be really cool. I love this boar change, man. 6 times damage against structures. So these flamethrowers are going to be super effective against warrens. I think that's really cool. I think that's an interesting way to try to make the boar a little bit more relevant without directly changing things like stats or DPS, really cool. We'll see how it plays out. The Badger getting a bit of a nerf, which makes sense. We see Badger in a lot of compositions. It's kind of the go-to tier 3 unit. The Fox losing 1 HP again. The Fox is a very strong, tier 3 unit for Badger, but the Fox is a very strong tier 3 unit as well, so maybe with these slight nerfs to the Fox and Badger, we'll see more things like owls or boars with the conjunction of that damage buff to the structures coming into play. Barbed wire's getting a tiny buff. We may or may not see barbed wire moving forward. I feel like barbed wire is one of those things that shows up a little bit more on the casual level than the high-end super competitive, just simply because it's not necessarily a bad unit, but it's very map dependent. You don't want to be drawing these big drawn out lines of barbed wire, right? Like, you want to use kind of 1 or 2 pieces effectively to really get the most out of your money for those. And you know what, like with lizards probably coming back into the meta after the mole and toad changes, maybe we will see some more barbed wire moving forward. Landmine, 4 HP down from 8, is going to be a little bit easier to deal with these guys as they're being placed down. I think that's kind of the intended change. Like if an enemy is placing a mine right in front of you, your squirrels will be able to gun that thing down before it fully plants a little bit better. Balloon not targeting commander is actually a buff to the balloon. Well, if enemy units are nearby, that's a big caveat as well. There's this weird thing that can happen in a large balloon wall late game, right? Where it's like I can't even get close to you because my commander will just immediately die. But at the same time, one of the ways you could get around the balloons with like something like a fox was letting your commander kind of soak that first hit, and while the balloon is on cooldown, you know, maybe get in and get a kill or two with your fox and be able to get out of there. So an interesting change, to say the least, and the artillery getting some love. Kalaru's definitely going to be happy about that. Really cool changes, man. I agree with basically everything here. I think it's a good patch. But patch time is always a little bit flustering for me because I have this large archive of replays that are no longer relevant now. So that's why I kind of put this show out last minute. I know there's a Pocketwatch Cup going on at the same time right now, but realistically, a lot of people that watch the show kind of tune into the VODs anyways, so thank you very much to everybody who's tuned in live, and hello everybody watching from the VODs. Good to see everybody in chat. And yeah, man, I think that's it. Like, we're really hyped about this tournament coming up. Again, I'm thinking about, I don't know, like, I just really like talking about Tooth and Tail and doing the show and that sort of thing. I know I haven't been doing it a lot lately, I've just been so busy, but you know, send me replays, guys, of the new patch, ToothAndTailTV@gmail.com. Don't be shy. The more replays I get, it kind of incentivizes me to do a show more often. So if I check the inbox and there's a bunch of replays in there, you know, maybe I'll put out a show a little more often than I have been lately. But okay, I think we made it. 10 minutes. I only talk for 10 minutes. That's not too bad. Alright, guys, let's hop into it. Match number 1. On the right, we've got Big Pimpintosh. And his opponent to the left, the Child. Alright, both these guys are very strong players. They've been grinding the ladder fairly consistently, to be honest. Like, we've been seeing them a little more and more lately, but Big Pimpintosh has always been there. WittyPun7 on Twitch. Big shout out to that guy, man. He streams Tooth and Tail from time to time. He does a lot of Pocketbot Cup stuff. And yeah, I'm interested to see how this plays out. Again, keep in mind, this is the old patch. But Tosh is running Lizards, and meanwhile, the Child is kind of going for this 4 tier 1 style, which has kind of been the meta over the evolution of this patch, I feel like. Some combination of the 4 tier 1. You know, we see the Child going for Lizards here. I think most of the time we'd see something more like Toads, you know, with a... but hold that thought, you know, I'm in the buying time phase, and I barely even looked at the board because we got a 4-farm double that's coming out from the Child, and a 4-farm Snake from Big Pimpintosh, and... I apologize, I wasn't paying close enough attention to the commanders early on to see if any of this was reactionary, or if these were both kind of planned builds that either player was going for. The Snake comes out, but immediately gets pounced on by the Squirrels. However, Tosh pulls it back at the last minute with 2 HP. One more shot from a Squirrel would have killed it, keeps it alive, and thwarts this rush very, very nicely. Tosh did end up losing a farm there, but that could have gotten much, much worse. I think Tosh is in a fantastic spot. He's already got the next Snake bought and paid for. He can just come home and queue a couple more farms here, really, to make sure his eco keeps moving and get across the map and start doing some harassment damage to the Child. Now, the Child does have Lizards, which are going to be a bit better, in my opinion, on defending this kind of thing than just pure Squirrel, because it's easier to kite the Squirrel. But hold that thought. Tosh's commander goes down, leaving his Snake exposed out in the open. One of them is going to die. 2 tier 1 go down for it. Actually, a couple more tier 1 are going to go down trying to chase this other Snake, but the Child sees an opening. He really wants to kill that last Snake, but it gets away. The Child overextending a little bit there. If he would have taken the 1 Snake and bounced back, he would have been in a better spot. So a little bit of a saving grace here for Tosh. That the Child did try to commit to getting that second Snake, but a very nice victory there. for the Child that kind of evens out the game compared to where it was just a moment ago. And Tosh is really going to need to start putting in some tier 1 here besides the pigeons. Yeah, he realizes this and even goes ahead and sells the pigeons. It's kind of hard for Tosh at this moment because he hasn't really been able to get in and see exactly what the Child is going for. Like, is he switching out of this into 8 farms? Is he continuing the aggression? Well, he definitely knows now. And I think Tosh made the right choice because he did throw down those Warrens instead of continuing farm production. If he would have thought, okay, maybe the Child's, done with this 4-farm double nonsense, we're going to take it into a proper game, he would have just died straight up. But hold that thought, because he might just die straight up here anyways, as the Child is pressing forward, dealing more and more damage. Both snakes go down, and now a lot of economic damage is being dealt here by the Child. Does Tosh have enough? I think you gotta sell that Snake Warren. Yeah, he decides that's the right move to make, but he's down to 3 farms versus the Child's 4, and the Child's gotta be very happy-go-lucky at this moment. Like, yeah, his economy is still small, but it's better than Tosh's, right? And Tosh is just trying to get up what he can. I think the squirrel-only composition is kind of interesting from Tosh here because it's going to be very decent on defense, but you're not going to beat Squizzard with just pure squirrel, right? Like, the lizard's kind of designed to beat the squirrel in straight-up engagements, right? So the 6-6 combo from the Child here is looking very strong. And no, actually, he decides, I've got too many lizards. Maybe that was on the back of... Well, I was going to say maybe that was back on sniffing out that the Snake Warren was gone, but he's not noticing that until just now. It can be hard for lizards in small numbers to get in there, into a defender's advantage, into Warrens, into pigs, and deal the damage he's looking for. So maybe that's kind of why he decided to draw back on the lizards just slightly. But Tosh here is doing what he can, man. I like this approach from Tosh. He's actually getting ahead in farms. He's decided, okay, I'm behind, right? So I got to take a risk. And that's just kind of a core fundamental of any RTS game is, Tosh can't just sit here and keep going pound for pound with the Child, or the Child's just going to come out in a better spot with the damage that he's previously done, right? So Big Pimpin' Tosh is taking a risk here, and it might play out for him, it might not, and I'm kind of worried because there's so many units flooding across the map. Tosh was just looking for a little bit more time, man, like 30 seconds, 45 seconds to try to stabilize here with a better economy and use that as a way to get back on the Child. But the Child's not messing around, dude. He did not build a single farm this game. Like, look at him. He's on 1 farm now, as his original farms are literally mined out since he's past the 5-minute mark. He's going to start starving soon. If Big Pimpin' Tosh could hold off this attack, which it looks like he might actually do... Oh my god. Big Pimpin' Tosh is still alive. Somehow, some way. Alright, he's only on 2 farms. Like, he took a lot of damage there. He lost a couple Warrens. He lost a couple farms. But he does technically have an eco lead. So again, Tosh is just trying to hang out, man. He knows the Child... He knows it's past the 5-minute mark. He knows the Child's got to be hurting. He's going to come in and get the scout off now. And he's going to see, okay, finally the Child is building some farms here. And gets a good read on the army composition and army count of his opponent. So, I don't know, like, we could see this stabilize, as weird as that sounds, into a longer game. 4 farm, tier 2. Oh, Kerpa, it was so amazing. Good to have everybody in the chat. What's up, Thunder Squid? I hope the levels are okay. They look pretty good in OBS. But yeah, so we're in a little bit of a lull now, as both players have kind of exhausted their starting economy. And Big Pimpin' Tosh is just trying to build up. Like, he feels like his way back into this game is to slowly sneak out a farm. Like, he's got to be careful, right? Like, he can't get too far back on units. And seeing that additional Mole Warren being built has got to be scary for him. And meanwhile, the Child is going to get the lay of the land. He's going to say, okay, I only see a few tier 1 warrants here. I only see a few farms. Like, Big Pimpin' Tosh isn't in that great of a spot. Dude, this is the kind of tooth and tail game I love, to be perfectly honest. I think this is what makes TnT such a unique game, is when we get into scrappy situations like this. And off the back of that scout where Tosh, all he had to see was that Mole Warren building, but really that was enough information because that was telling Tosh, like, hey, he's not building farms, he's building more units. So Tosh is trying to scramble to get some more units out, but this army from the Child here Looks like it might just be too much. He's trying to focus down these Warrens in the south, but kind of changes his mind about that moving forward. And Big Pipitosh holds off this attack. But since Tosh had to commit to those Lizard Warrens, you know, his economy is really not that great either. Like, we're playing some really, really low eco Tooth and Tail right now. It's pretty nuts. QQ told you to Snake Rush. Man, I'd be interested to see, like, the verdict on Snake Rushes nowadays. You know, it used to be a thing way back in the day. You know, you could get away with that. Basically, that build that you did. You know, the Snake and Pigeon opening. Mishi used to do that to me all the time, and when both of us were playing a lot at the top of the ladder, and it was very difficult to deal with. And here we go, the child moving forward. He's got more units than Big Pipitosh does, but Tosh does have that defender's advantage. And it's hard for these lizards to directly engage with these moles. Nice target fire coming down from both sides, but Tosh is going to manage to hold on once again. And I feel like the child is just trying really, really hard to seal the deal in this game, where it's just not going to happen, man. Like, Big Pipitosh is being way too resilient, you know? He's been doing a fantastic job holding on. And as weird as it sounds to say, you know, these players are very, very soon going to be forced into expanding. And this map is actually not a terrible map for either side, you know? I mean, yeah, it's a little better for Tosh, but it's not undoable for the child here. You know, he's got plenty of access to expansions. He could have taken this into a later game if he wanted. And here we go, Tosh again, trying to take a couple risks to get out a farm or two. And what's even worse about this situation is these farms over here that just have a little bit of wheat left on them. Like, you're kind of hard-pressed if you even want to invest the 60 food into retaking that. You know what I mean? Like, it's already basically mined out. You might as well just try to go for a gristmill. And, God, the child with another massive attack. I think this might be the one that can break the back of his opponent. Time and time again, just really committing to this aggression. And he's finally done it. I don't see any way back for Tosh from here, unfortunately. Tosh is just going to go scope out his opponent's base just to see what he had left over. And it looks like the child is going to take the match. Dude, the child, just with that onslaught of aggression, man. Really keeping the tempo of that game, you know, in his hands. Low eco games are the greats, says Kerpa. Dude, I know, man. I 100% agree with you. I especially think it's cool when, like, games kind of get to that later phase. You know, we get, like, 2, 3, 4 gristmills up. We get some big, complicated armies. And then it just kind of devolves back into low eco. I think that's really cool, too. Alright, guys, let's keep it rolling. Match number 2. Okay, in the left, we've got Powelon. And his opponent to the right, Citizen Weasel. Okay, again, guys, I kind of picked tonight's replays based on my most recent submissions. Like, I have submissions going back, you know, a couple months. And I do appreciate all the contributions from the scene, man, to keep this thing going. But I'm out of ammo, guys. Like, patch time is always bittersweet for me because I love new patches. I think it's a great way to shift the meta up, get new players in here, keep the game moving. But it's always like this feeling for me because I have this huge stockpile. Like, I have enough replays to do like 3 or 4 more shows at least. And now I'm back to 0. So if you guys want to continue to see more replay casting content, man, please send me some replays at ToothAndTailTV at gmail.com on the latest patch. Because basically after the show, the rest of the replays I have are just kind of obsolete. Like, I kind of, most of the time when a new patch comes in, I kind of do a one last hoorah with my old archive, you know, which is kind of what we're doing here. Just taking a look at these replays from the previous patch before they're too irrelevant. But after tonight, you know, I think my next show I want to do, not this Friday coming up, but maybe the Friday after that or the Saturday if I'm just too wiped out from work. Yeah, ideally I'd like to get a show out either the 5th or the 6th with new patch content. So send that stuff my way, guys. In the meantime, in this game, we've got 8 farm openings from both players. Powelon here committing a little bit more. 8 farm, 2 tier 1 is pretty standard. Yeah, we see a 3rd tier 1 from Citizen Weasel. It's kind of like the 8 farm, 2 tier 1 can basically go into like most builds. You know, you can throw down a tier 2, you can get an expansion, you can get a tier 3. But throwing down that 3rd tier 1 Warren kind of signals a little bit of aggression, in my opinion, or at least not wanting to advance the phases of the game too quickly. It looks like Citizen Weasel has decided he just wanted to take a bunch of tier 1 to get up a quick expansion, you know, be safe. And here we see Powelon kind of gearing up, maybe for some skunk aggression, but right as I say that, he takes his own gristmill. Nice scout there from Citizen Weasel, seeing that tier 2. Powelon's gonna get, I think Powelon saw the tier 2 from Citizen Weasel as well. So basically mirror builds at this point. The only difference is Weasel took his expansion a little bit quicker, and Powelon got his tier 2 unit a little quicker. But we're going to go into a mid-game comp, and these are very, very short rush distances here. And with the balloon on Citizen Weasel's side, like, balloons are very big investments. Yeah, and here we go. There's a balloon already on the field, and in my opinion, that's a fantastic position. Like, look how much scouting information he's getting with that balloon. Tons and tons of vision. And that's going to definitely help him out in a fight moving forward. However, the correct response from Powelon after seeing that balloon is just to eco the hell up, right? Like, my opponent invested 120 food into that balloon. I'm going to take my own 120 food and put it into 2 extra farms and get a little bit ahead that way. So, balloons can be a little bit of a double-edged sword in that regard. So you got to be careful, really, with any defense in general when it comes to that. Alright, so Weasel moving forward, a little bit of poking and prodding, but not committing too much to anything just yet. And again, I love this response from Powelon. Seeing that balloon from his opponent, just saying, okay, that's fine, I'll just get out my 2 base economy a little bit faster than you do. And as long as Powelon doesn't want to commit into a fight, he should be okay. But the problem here is that if Powelon becomes too passive, like, Weasel's got really, really good opportunity to continue growing on this map. Like, he's got a 3rd base in the pocket here. He's even got a 4th base in the pocket as well. Yeah, if you look at the mini-map, there's no way to get to this 4th base. So, bases 3 and 4, and really 5, are all kind of covered from this balloon. So yeah, the balloon was a little bit early, but this is the kind of defense I love. Like, this balloon is doing so much work. It's literally protecting 5 bases. And yeah, exactly. Weasel can just go up to tier 3. He can take a 3rd base. And Powelon doesn't have that late game power composition, right? Like, Powelon really looks like he's going for a big 1 to 2 base push with this deck. You know, he's got the snakes and skunks and the handful of tier 1 units. He can get in there and try to bust his opponent down. And to be honest, I think he might have been a little bit too scared of this balloon, right? Like, the balloon is going to help out, sure, but it's not going to make up for an enormous army deficit. And I feel like Powelon's composition is really geared toward this mid-game strike. And the window for that kind of thing to happen is slowly closing. If Weasel's allowed to kind of sit back here and get this late-game air force of balloons and owls and falcons, it's going to be really hard for Powelon to deal with that. But no 3rd base yet for Weasel, but Caster Curse kicks in right when I say that, and he takes his 3rd base now. So I'm getting worried for Powelon, man. You know, I hate to sound like a broken record, but Powelon's whole deck strategy here is that big mid-game push, and Tooth and Tail moves at a lightning pace here. You know, the game transitions very, very fast. We're almost essentially in the late game already. Now, the question is, has Powelon scouted the tier 3? No, I don't think so. Hang on, let me make sure. Yeah, Powelon has no idea that the tier 3 are coming up. But a lot of snakes is a good response to this. I'd actually like to see a couple more skunks. Skunks do surprisingly well against owls, especially if you had something like pigeons in here to kind of help heal them up. But I feel like Weasel's in a very good position if he just keeps hanging back. Like, Weasel doesn't have to do anything. Now Powelon knows about these owls, and there's a little bit of debate about this, but he needs to sell these toads, in my opinion. Because the toads are just going to detonate against these owls, and it's going to be so much value for Weasel. Like, I have heard the arguments, which I agree with, like, hey, the toads can be a nice force to let you just kind of punch through all the mice of your opponent and get in there with a powerful attack and try to catch the owls kind of flying naked in the air, you know, without any ground support, which is true, but if these owls are allowed to just kind of, you know, throw a few mice at the opponent here and there over time, and these toads just keep detonating, it's going to be a lot of loss for Powelon. Dude, it's owl time, ladies and gentlemen. Let's hear it. Bleh. 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 Alright, more Tier 2 on the way for Weasel. He's teching up at a reasonable speed. However, Powelon is actually getting the eco advantage, so as much talk as I have, as much as I've been hyping up Citizen Weasel's position here, you know, is it going to come down to a numbers game where Powelon's just been enjoying the better economy for a little bit longer and can just have enough? You know, that's something that happens a lot in RTS as well, where it's like, yeah, their units counter my units, but I just have like twice as many units as them. It doesn't even matter, you know? But I don't think that's going to be the case. Like, Weasel has been saturating his third base relatively quickly, and there hasn't really been any big engagements. And as I say that, Powelon moves in with all these toads and going to see if he can just break the back of his opponent. This is a very big committal. He needs to get some damage done. He at least needs to trade out this army, right? He needs to kill these owls. A lot of the Tier 2 still remains here from Powelon, but all the owls are still in the sky, which are the big important units for Citizen Weasel. But as I say that, you know, Citizen Weasel did lose a lot of his Tier 2, which you can't really undervalue those either. But more and more mice are going to continue to be produced from these 3 owls that are still in the air and clean up the rest of Powelon's army. Now Powelon needs to make some very, very quick decisions. He needs to sell off some warrants to be able to just reproduce whatever army he possibly can. You know, you've been building up all game long to these mega armies with all these warrants. You're not going to be able to reproduce all those units very, very quickly. You got to sell some stuff off, and Powelon does that, but he's still in the red. And this counterattack from Weasel is doing so much damage. And that's going to be it. Powelon taps out. Weasel takes the match. So that was a great game. I think Weasel played that out perfectly. My critique to Powelon would have been, I think he got a little bit too scared of that balloon, right? Like, the deck composition that Powelon was kind of flaunting there was a big 2-base push, and he kind of held off out of fear from that defensive structure into 3-base, which is where Citizen Weasel's army composition really shined. You know, Powelon almost punched through, but those owls living, you know, and especially when the engagements get scrappy, like in the aftermath of a big skirmish like that, you know, the owls just shine very, very hard. Lucas Nikas, who are you in Tooth and Tail? I know you have a different name on Discord. I can't remember what it is. Anyways, guys, let's hop into match number 3. Oh, this guy. Okay, yeah. Yeah, dude. This guy, one of the top players, for sure. Alright, guys, in the right, we've got James, and his opponent to the left, we got Blue Coon. James and Blue Coon, both veterans of Tooth and Tail. They've been here basically as long as I have. Both rocking the Fox, so I gotta love that. Now, James, if he really wants to steal my heart with this replay, would go for a 1-base fast Fox play, since he's kind of got the spawn for it, right? Like, the balloon is kind of harder to pull off that kind of style than if you had the turret, but I think the balloon is overall better with this composition because it deals with the opponent's Fox if you get into a mirror matchup. It deals with skunks very effectively, but for a Tier 1 rush, I like that flexibility of the turret being faster to build, you know, a little bit cheaper. These kind of things can really matter when you got a skunk push knocking on your door while you're trying to build a Fox or something like that. But we'll see how these guys play it out. This map is decent for both players. I like it a little better for Blue Coon here. I like Blue Coon. I feel like Blue Coon's deck is a little more tried and true. I like that it has flexibility. Because Blue Coon doesn't have to really go for a Fox composition here. You know, he could just go Squirrel, Toad, Pigeon, Skunk, which is a very, very powerful 1 to 2 base push. You know, and then if he decides, I want to tech into a Fox later, or maybe get a Fox at a reasonable time, you know, like half base saturation on your second or something like that. Blue Coon's going hard here. 1 Tier 1 Warren into a second base with 3 farms right off the get-go, but James is basically doing the same thing, except for he went 2 Tier 1. 2 Tier 1 into an expo like this is a little bit safer. Looks like James decides to sell off a Warren from that scouting info. He realizes Blue Coon's going hard on the economy. He can be a little greedier. He wants to go ahead and get up a balloon to feel safe, I suppose, at this phase in the game. And again, I don't hate this balloon. It is a little bit early, but I feel like it's good because it kind of does a lot. Like, look at how much vision it's giving him. And then also this balloon is kind of protecting this third base as well. So James is going to go ahead and basically go up to 8 farm saturation on the second base immediately. And Blue Coon's following suit pretty nicely. He's getting his snake up to be able to do a little bit of harassment here. Maybe a little bit for the defensive play, but he hasn't committed to the last couple farms on his expansion. Right after the scout he does. Very nicely done. It's always a great thing to deny your opponent any kind of information you possibly can. Satchmo, man, I'm bad at this game. I only ever make defense and owls for the dream, for that owl dream. Dude, I feel you, man. 100%. We'll tune into some replays. I've got so much content on this channel if you're looking for any educational material. Owl plus defense is definitely a viable strategy. You just got to be very careful about overcommitting to defense in the early game, as it could be units or eco, right? Like, imagine we both have owls compositions. And I see, oh, hold that thought real quick. As Blue Coon is moving in for some aggression, he sniffed out that his opponent was really committing to the economy, to this owl, and he unlike last game, he's saying, you know what, man, I can come in here, I can bust down this owl. And unfortunately for him, he loses his commander. I feel like that would have been an okay trade. If his commander stayed alive, he could have microed out. You know, yeah, he was going to lose one snake either way, but he could have got back with a handful of squirrels and that other snake still alive. But just a tip, Satchmo, to keep in mind, like if we both have like owl comps, right, and we both want to take it to a big macro owl game, and I scout out that you're making a ton of defense, I can say, great, I don't have to throw down $1 into defense, and I can just get a third base faster than you. I can eco up faster, if that makes sense. So a little bit of defense I like. There are some pro players, and there might be a little bit of truth to it, that'll just say, you know, any defense could be a bad investment, but I personally like a little bit. I think like the 1 or 2 balloons is fine. You know, a turret, I kind of like to abuse turrets to try to get out a fast fox rush, for example. Things of that nature. We see Kalaru in high level of play have phenomenal results with Drumfire Cannon. So that defensive style is definitely good, you know, especially on maps like this. Like, you could do almost a cannon rush, like a balloon or a turret rush if you took this gristmill from your opponent, put on pressure and things like that. So Blue Coon gonna go ahead and take this third base up here. James, it looks like, sniffed it out, but he can't quite get the Falcons up to that position to harass those, to harass that gristmill. Blue Coon actually very questionably took another gristmill over in the south, and both players have thrown down their Fox Warrens. I was a little late on noticing that, I apologize. Blue Coon's Fox is almost on the board already. And James does have some good anti-Fox repellent spray in his deck, in my opinion. Like, he's got the chameleons, which can set up that classic Fox ambush. He's got the balloons. But will that be enough as Blue Coon is moving forward to try to do a little bit of harassment here? His army's still looking good, and there was some very nice toe connections here for James. James is going to push the issue and basically delete the entire army of Blue Coon. Very nice engagement there for James. The Fox still remains on the board. If it didn't, Blue Coon would probably just tap out. To be honest, losing that Fox would have been too big of a blow. But he manages to keep it alive with some good micro. Both players going into 3 base economies here and teching up. The Fox from James just hit the board. And I'm a little bit more worried about Blue Coon's counter Fox play than James, to be honest. And, oh man, is he trying to set up? Oh, he did find the sweet spot. 1 Falcon able to harass this gristmill. Very nicely done. The question is, does James know about this other gristmill? He does not. So maybe he's thinking, oh, nice shot off there on the Fox, by the way. But, you know, he might get overexcited and think that that's Blue Coon's base, where really that's kind of like a decoy base. I think Blue Coon maybe took it originally and then decided, it might be a little too risky. What if my opponent had something like ferrets or a drumfire cannon? You never really know in Tooth and Tail. Defense requires a defensive brain to use. Very nicely put. I like it. I do think defense is viable. I've seen defense being used at high levels of play. But here we go, another big engagement. The Toads hitting those chameleons, not the engagements they were looking for. James moving forward. Is he going to be able to target down this Fox? It looked like he was going to think about it there for a second with his commander. I always think Fox versus Fox is really interesting because you have to make the decision of, do you want to try to commit to that target fire on your opponent's Fox, or do you want to keep your commander back a little bit and be able to micro and keep your own Fox alive? Because you can't really do both at once, right? But Blue Coon, sniffing weakness down south on a secret mission. Oh, getting terrain blocked a little bit, and then... Oh. Okay, James is doing the same thing. I thought he was going to come back, but now he's just kind of hesitating a little bit. Not in a good position here. James getting off a few pop shots on that tier 1. Doesn't seem like a big deal, but every shot really, really counts. And I don't feel like either player's crippled. I feel like James might be in a bit of a lead. It's hard to tell. Like, he's taking the better engagements, but Blue Coon definitely has a better economy. And a lot of both of these armies is in Toads, right? Like, Toads are this very large committal unit. You know, they're going to get depleted in the next fight, right? And I guess it's wrong to say a large portion, but 9 Toads is a decent amount of Toads, right? Compared to Blue Coon's, a little bit more conservative, 6 Toads and a lot more Squirrels. And James just keeping this harassment up with his Fox. Needs to be careful to not get that poison onto his Fox, however. You know, yeah, the snake doesn't outrange the Fox or anything, but a little bit of poison, you know, the Fox doesn't have a whole lot of HP. It'll die very, very quickly. James moving forward. A lot of his army actually getting melted here, but the tier 1 reinforces and continues to push forward. Oh, the 2 stacks of poison on the Fox. It gets down to 2 HP, but getting back into his territory, it stays alive. Oh, and he gets the kill on Blue Coon's Fox. Nicely done. It was a little battered and bruised from the engagements with the Squirrels. And now James is in a phenomenal position. You know, this isn't over for Blue Coon. He's still got the better economy here. You know, but I'm worried because none of the units that Blue Coon has are really, really good against the Fox. He doesn't have anything like lizards or chameleons with that snake going down right there. Excuse me. It really hurts. And gosh, I feel like after losing that Fox, you know, Blue Coon's in a really hard spot. I don't think he's going to be able to reinforce in time. Getting this Falcon's really nice, and keeping that snake alive, to be honest. We're getting a little bit scrappy here. And there are situations where a lone Fox is not going to be enough. You know, if the opponent just masses you with so many Squirrels. Yeah, you're getting a lot of quote-unquote value with your Fox, but, you know, if the opponent's tackle with 30 Squirrels, right, and you kill 10 of them, but the other 20 end up killing your Fox, then, well, gets the job done. All right, James keeping the pressure on. Blue Coon realizing he's got to commit. I think this is the right call in this kind of situation, as weird as that sounds, because he can't just sit here and let this Fox pick him apart, right? Like, he's got to try to just do something. A lot of times when you're getting harassed like this, it is very difficult because it kind of forces you into a big committal. Otherwise, you're going to wind up in a position like this where the Fox is just sniping down units essentially as they spawn. And there's not a whole lot left you could do. I hate to be a party pooper on this cast, but it looks like James is going to take the win from here. And that's going to be it. Really cool game. James manages to take the victory off the back of some very nice Fox control and managing to snipe out his opponent's Fox. Okay, guys, real quick micro break. I'll be back in like a minute or two. I apologize. I gotta clear my throat, grab a drink. A little groggy today, so be right back in just like 1 or 2 minutes. Okay. Whoops. Ha. Whoops. I did not mute the right thing. So hopefully you guys didn't hear me hacking my lungs out. Anyways, I'm back, guys. Thanks everybody for tuning in. We did get a little bit more viewership after my initial announcement. So listen, guys. Of course I'm plugging something right. It's ToothAndTailTV. So I want to plug... Hang on. Boom! Okay. We got a tournament coming up. The 2v2 Bizarre Random RNG for the Win tournament by Mr. P Boop. It's going to be here with myself and AV Ultima on the desk. I absolutely love casting with AV Ultima. We have a great time when we do it. And it's going to be a completely 2v2 random tournament, guys. Random teammates, random maps, random decks, random everything. I'm putting up a little bit of Delthius money for the prize. We got $10 Steam gift card to both members of the winning team coming out of my pocket. And it's going to be a lot of fun, man. I really like this tournament, to be honest, because we've kind of had an influx of newbies into the scene after the big Steam sale. So if you're new to the game and you want to get involved in this kind of stuff, don't be shy, man. Sign up. The information is actually under the stream you're watching right now. There's a link under, what is it? Tooth and Tail events. There's a little, it's hard to see kind of, it says sign up here, and you can click on the here, and that'll invite you to the Discord. We're not using challenge or anything for this. We're kind of doing it all in like Google Docs and stuff, because it's like random teammates, so that's hard to do with a platform like challenge. But basically and let me emphasize, every single round is going to be random, right? So round of 16 is random. Round of 8, you get a new teammate. Round of 4, you get a new teammate. It's going to be really fun. I'm going to have a literal hat and draw names out of the hat to determine teams on air. So it's going to be fun. Don't be shy if you're a new player. This is a perfect event for a new player who really enjoys Tooth and Tail to get involved with, as you might get teamed up with like a pro or something like that. So it's going to be fun, guys. It's in a couple weekends. I'm going to be trying to put together another feast to hype up the tournament and just to do more content for the hell of it. Either next Friday or Saturday, the 5th or the 6th. So please send me some more replays into that ToothAndTailTV @gmail.com inbox. Any level of play is perfectly fine. It's going to be a good time. So I'm hyped, man. I think it's going to be good. Okay, let's keep this going. Match number 4. In the bottom, we've got this guy. And in the right, we've got Haru. Both these players are top players, in my opinion, in the scene right now. This guy, on my Sunday afternoon ranked stream, on my last stream, they whooped my ass like 4 or 5 times. Like, he really knows the skunk push, man. And I'm actually interested to see how he survives the skunk change. If it's really gonna mess with his tactics a lot. You know, I feel like this guy has really refined this tier 1 into skunk push very nicely. And really cool to see here, he's changing it up a little bit, going for that double tier 3 with the Wolf Badger. Gonna be very strong in the late game if we get there. Meanwhile, Haru's deck looks very competitive as well. Kind of that 4 tier 1 has been pretty standard, at least on patch 1.4. Which is where we're at, guys. And not going for the skunks, instead going for the falcons, which I think is fine. I think with some good micro, some good control, you can kind of buffer back that skunk push with the falcons. I feel like skunk is probably stronger in that early to mid game, but the falcon scales better into the later game. And Haru, the madman here, going for a gristmill before any tier 1 at all. And this guy's going to sniff this out. I'm interested to see his response. Is he going to try to match read with greed? No, he's going to throw down that skunk worm, man. Again, this guy's... Oh, but hey, hold that thought. Very nicely done. Okay, so a little bit of mind games, which are very common in Tooth and Tail since you get that full refund. You know, Haru scouted that tier 2 going down. He might be worrying that some trouble's on the way, but he's going to get the rescout in and see that this guy pulled a fast one on him. Instead, canceled that tier 2. Threw down a gristmill. Is he going to cancel that gristmill? Oh, I think he wanted to. I think he's in the chat, right? Like, you wanted to cancel that gristmill right there. I'm not sure if you remembered it, but to me it looked like that was a move, because he threw down the tier 2 immediately again. Is Haru gonna get the scout on it? Is the question. No, I don't think he is. Oh, bam. He barely gets it at the last moment. Meanwhile, this guy sees that Haru's not going too hard on the economy, and this guy matches it farm for farm for now. But I feel like this guy's playstyle, you know, he really wants to do this big 1-2 base skunk push, and he's very strong at it. This guy in the chat saying I'm giving him too much credit. But yeah, that would have been good. I thought you were just trying to like barely get there in time. Okay, so this guy's rallying his troops forward. I'm not 100% if he really wants to commit to this push. You know, he might be matching pound for pound on Haru's economy just to kind of keep up with him. He knows Haru has a similar army composition, very, very similar stuff to this point, to be perfectly honest. You know, maybe I'm going to favor Haru a little bit in the engagement if he's on the defense here. I mean, it's pretty easy to say that regardless in Tooth and Tail, because defender's advantage is a very, very big thing. But the Falcons seem like they're going to pair very nicely with being able to kind of chill back, you know, near the pig line, you know, protected by the Warrens. And to be honest, it's a little bit of a pain in the ass to target Falcons, right? You know, when you get into engagements like this, both players are trying to kind of eliminate the tier 2 of their opponents. And, you know, it's easy to target that skunk, but trying to get the Falcon when it's got something underneath it can be difficult. But this guy, no, he is not going to go for that skunk push this time around. He is going to get a tier 3 in the perfect spot. Look at the spot, man. This just yells out to this guy. Take a tier 3 and put it right here. Is Haru going to scout it, though? No, he does. Oh, no, he already did scout it. I'm sorry. I missed that earlier. So Haru knows that the Badger's on the way. If you're a casual viewer to Tooth and Tail or haven't played in a long time, we can see what is building out of the tier 3 Warren, so he knows that it's not just a tier 3 Warren, he knows specifically it's a Badger. And it looks like he's not going to try to meet this Badger with his own Badger. Instead, he's going to get a cavalcade of tier 1 up and running, maybe try to clash a bunch of toads. No, he's going to try to move out before the Badger is completed, which is definitely the right move to make. However, sometimes you can get baited into doing this kind of thing. Your opponent like barely holds off and trades armies, and then now they have a Badger and you've got nothing. But I think this is the right move to make. You know, Haru's not over-committing. He's just doing a little bit of harassment damage with the Falcons. And one Falcon gets low, but he moves his army forward in the perfect time to keep it alive, clashing onto the opponent. A lot of the toads blow up, getting some very, very good connections here. And Haru's moving forward, and this does look very, very good for Haru, but man, Badger is a hell of a unit, and it hits the board now. Is she going to be able to make the difference in this fight? Here she comes. Maybe it's going to be too much damage. Regardless, though, as that second base does fall, and it was pretty heavily saturated from this guy, so it's not like he lost 1 or 2 farms there. He lost a lot. And very smartly, Haru is just going to pull back. He's like, you know what? You got your Badger now. I'm out of here. He dealt the damage. He got several Warrens. He got the second base. That gristmill goes down, but, you know, it's just a little bit of a forward gristmill from Haru there. We see that pretty often. 1, as a way to kind of keep spending money, and 2, as a way to just kind of tank some damage in an engagement. But this guy looking for a strong counterattack here. And he's got to get some damage done with this Badger. Again, Haru's kind of in a difficult spot like Blue Coon was previously, where he doesn't really have a unit that's very, very good at dealing with the Badger. Now, this guy doesn't have the pigeon support, so I don't feel like 2 Falcons is enough, but even something like 4 Falcons would probably be enough to DPS this Badger down quickly. Yeah, as you can see, just a couple Falcons really doing some work to that Badger, but not going to be enough here. And that Badger ends up cleaning up the rest of the army for Haru. And if this guy's micro is on point, you know, I think he's going to be able to close it out from here. He's basically on the production of Haru. Haru's got nothing left. He's going to have to tap out. And even though Haru managed to take a nice timing attack there, this guy holds it off, doesn't take enough damage, and wins with the counterattack with the Badger. This is what I was talking about earlier, where, you know, your knee-jerk reaction to seeing that tier 3 come down is like, well, I'm going to hit this timing attack and just demolish them before that tier 3 hits the board. And sometimes that can work. But as we can see here, like, yeah, this guy took a lot of damage, but he didn't take crippling damage, and the Badger came out and was enough to just seal the deal. And I feel like if Haru just had a couple more Falcons there, he could have killed that Badger and won the game, because it was like 4 to 10 farms at that point. The economy was really in Haru's favor, but he just didn't quite have the DPS to deal with that Badger. Hey, we got the gentleman in the chat. What's up, man? You guys played the new patch yet? Boar is the best tier 3. Oh, big words coming from the gentleman, who is a big man, so I believe it. No, I haven't played the new patch yet. I was thinking about maybe streaming some ranked after the feast, to be honest. Like, I'm pretty hyped for the new patch, and I ain't got anything else going on tonight, so maybe we'll do a little bit of a rank play after this. Maybe I'll take a little break and do some ranked games. I actually really like a lot of the changes. Okay. Don't believe his lies, says Kerpa. Okay. Alright, let's keep moving forward, guys. Game number 5. Boar just stomps MGs and mills now. It's hilarious. Do you think the Boar was overbuffed, gentlemen? Alright, in the bottom left, guys, we've got Trumpet. And his opponent to the right, Mistria, rocking that signature barbed wire. Dude, I gotta get a hold of Mistria, man, and let her know that 2v2 tournament's coming up or something. Really great player. Mistria has been around for quite a long time. Kind of pops in and out, you know. I won't see her for a while, and then a month or two will go by, and she'll shoot me some replays. Meanwhile, Trumpet, I don't think I've heard of. It might be somebody smurfing. It might be a new player from the Steam sale. But deck compositions here are pretty wonky from both players. Trumpet not rocking squirrels, instead going for that lizard toad pigeon, which could totally work out if you have good control. Lucky for Trumpet, Mistria does not have toads. When you're in the situation of like squirrel toad versus lizard toad, it can be very hard from the lizard toad player's perspective. But we still see guys like Mishi and the gentleman do some phenomenal micro and get around that and kind of make the toads trade and get left with squirrel versus lizard, you know, and take that favorable engagement. Both players here also with the Falcon Skunk. The big difference here really is that Mistria has got that owl in the back pocket, and Trumpet is just kind of committed to this tier 1 and tier 2. With MGs, though, so these MGs could be used aggressively, I feel like, in this composition from Trumpet. I typically like MGs in compositions with a greedy unit, something like a fox, I feel like, or a ferret. Goes really nicely with the turrets. Either to kind of clutch, you know, make a turret real quick while I'm trying to rush out this greedy fox, or throw down a battle line that my fox and ferrets can get back to. So we'll see how this plays out. Pretty standard openings from both players thus far. I don't think Trumpet got the scout off on that tier 2. So that's a nice little bit of a advantage here for Mistria thus far. And so far, Mistria just looks like she's setting up for like a textbook skunk push, you know, which is a really good way to kind of get a feel for your opponent. You don't have to overcommit to it. You know, something like even the composition she has now, you know, she could take like a gristmill and transition out of it. But you can also just like poke your opponent and punish them if they're too greedy. However, lizards, in my opinion, are pretty damn good against skunks, as they're able to kind of get out of that gas very quickly, get up on those skunks. You know, if the lizards kind of soak some damage for the toads to get some right connections. Dude, how is that lizard still there? That scout lizard staying out. Keeping eyes on the map here for Trumpet. All right, Mistria wanting to get aggressive. Going for this classic one base push with the skunk. Taking this gristmill here. Maybe just to expand, maybe to grab some territory for some extra healing, throw down a barbed wire or two. But I actually love stuff like this. Like, even if Mistria doesn't push the issue and just kind of takes the space and macros up, she's really solidifying her portion of the map here, right? Because there's, you know, by taking this gristmill, it is a little bit riskier in the early game, but now she's setting up to control this entire area of an additional 3rd and 4th base, a campfire. And throwing down that signature barbed wire, again, is Mistria. However, she's got a lot of firepower behind this. Like, this is a decent investment for her. That's 100 food right there. But she can use this to leverage a bunch of expansions and just kind of slow down the game, which is going to favor her since she's got owls in her composition. However, Trumpet in my opinion, is basically doing the right thing in response to this. I'd love to see him sell these turrets, but he's basically being really greedy. He's saying, hey, you're going to take a bunch of defense. I'm just going to macro up, no problem. But I'm worried for him the later this game goes on, because Amicia really aggressively just split the board, and Trumpet didn't contest it at all, right? So Amicia has access to 1, 2, 3 more gristmills just off of this barbed wire line. And Trumpet's only got access to 2nd and 3rd gristmill, which most of the time is enough, you know? I tend to think maps are balanced if both players have reasonable access to a 2nd gristmill. Because games of Tooth and Tail, for the most part, really don't get into that 3, 4, 5 base situation. Sometimes it does. 3rd base is a little more, I concede that a little bit. I think it might be incorrect to say games of Tooth and Tail don't go into a 3rd base. Like, yeah, 3rd bases are relevant, but you can kind of take a 3rd base like this one, you know what I mean? That's a little bit out on the map, and kind of keep your scouting up and try to defend that with good positioning and good sense of what your opponent's doing. But Trumpet's playing a little bit in the dark, right? Like, he hasn't got a good scout on the amount of farms on Amicia's base. He hasn't seen the tier 3 on the way. He's trying to get over there and check it out, but he just can't quite get past that barbed wire. Meanwhile, Amicia knows exactly what Trumpet's up to. She knows that Trumpet took a fully saturated 2nd base. She knows generally the army composition of her opponent. And she's in the driver's seat, to be perfectly honest. Like, the onus is on Trumpet here to really do something, right? Like, Amicia can just sit back. You know, she's got access to the majority of the gristmills on the map. She's got access to the higher tiered units. You know, Amicia is perfectly fine going into 3, 4, 5 bases and a million owls. That's no problem at all. But where is Trumpet's army going to evolve from here? He can build a whole lot of falcons, which is definitely a nice way that tier 2 can kind of scale into the late game. But this is where the harassment's going to start, and this is where these turrets are going to come in handy. They're going to help prevent Trumpet from really bleeding off too much from this owl harassment, which I like that a lot. Oh, good point from P-Boop in the chat. She doesn't know about the 3rd base, which is actually very true. And she does not have a 3rd base, so right now Trumpet's got the better economy, so this might turn into one of those situations where Amicia has quote-unquote got the better composition, but Trumpet just has more stuff and moves in there and just knocks the hell out of his opponent, right? But the problem is that window is slowly closing as this owl count builds and builds. You know, Trumpet's got to get the courage up to attack soon, and I wouldn't even hate something like Trumpet moving through the water here, knocking out this base, and trying to just go around the barbed wire. Like, he doesn't have to take a fight into this barbed wire. He can just simply walk around it into the water. But I'm worrying about the scaling more and more into the late game. However, Amicia really doesn't have anything that's great against lizards outside of the owls. And Amicia is not being super greedy on the owl count. It's not like she's already gone up to 3 or 4 or something. She's just got a modest 1 with the 2nd on the way. So maybe Trumpet can find a way to break this. It's really interesting how just a couple pieces of defense can really stalemate a game, you know? And you have to keep in mind, a lot of times when you see your opponent doing something like building defense to try to prolong the game, yeah, this is what I'm talking about from Trumpet, man. This is beautiful. Getting into a lot of falcons, a lot of lizards. I'm starting to, I don't know, guys. I'm starting to go a little bit more into Camp Trumpet here. If he can take the right engagement, like, his army value is starting to get bigger. But I hope he realizes he doesn't have to fight through this barbed wire. That barbed wire will do a lot of work to these lizards. He needs to just go in the water and just go around and hit the sweet underbelly of Amicia's base. Like, this is a nice dude. 42 lizards, okay? I don't care about your 2 owls when I have 42 lizards. This is what I'm talking about. He's moving up through the water, ignoring that barbed wire. He needs to be careful. As his reinforcements are going to kind of straggle out into the barbed wire. But here's the big engagement. Who's going to come out on top here? Does Trumpet have enough to actually break through? Amicia is back here. A lot of falcons still in the air for Trumpet. And a phenomenal timing attack, in my opinion, from Trumpet to really try to get something done before this late game composition just gets out of control for his opponent. And look at this, Trumpet absolutely crushing through Amishia's army. The Owls go down, the tier 2 goes down, the base goes down, everything is falling here for Amishia. Damn, man, very nicely done from Trumpet. I think the enormous amount of lizards was a phenomenal call here. And I think that's it. I think he's gonna take the cake. The cake is not a lie here for Trumpet. Oh, but as I say that, hold on. Hold the phone. Mishra stabilizes. She is down a little bit in economy. But look at that. Actually, a very impressive defense from Amishra if you consider the differential in army value. As Trumpet kind of skyrocketed up with all those lizards. Like, she had a considerably smaller force and was able to kind of even that out, but this counterattack from Amicia is questionable a little bit. These skunks are really units who just can't afford to lose. And these lizards are quite expendable from Trumpet's side of things. And Trumpet's getting ready for another counterattack. Now, Trumpet might have a little bit too much bloodlust here. If he overcommits, it's going to give Amisha an opportunity to get back into the game, but he's got so many units here. He's got so many Falcons in the air. I don't think Amisha has got enough to fend this off. Only 8 lizards on the board for Amisha left. This last remaining mining base under fire, taking heavy damage. But, oh my god, Amisha actually holds it. And hang on a second. Is Trumpet overcommitting with these past additional fights here? Some very smart Warren sales here from Amisha. And Trumpet's mined out this hidden third base that he took very early to get that initial influx in the economy is gone now. And Amisha is left with a few units on the board. I feel like Trumpet needs to sell off some Warrens here. Maybe he's a little bit new and he's not aware of that kind of mechanic that happens in the later stages of Tooth and Tail like this, where it's like, you know, you don't have the income to build up this massive army that you've been working towards all game. You gotta sell down on these Warrens. Like, you don't want your Warrens to be in the red. Oh man, is Amisha coming back here? Like, Trumpet's initial attack was phenomenal. And I feel like the steps that he's made after that, I feel like might have been a little bit too geared towards bloodlust. And just that feeling that's very, very common. Where it's like, okay, I just won a big fight, now I can win the game, right? In Tooth and Tail, sometimes it's not that cut and dry. And yeah, Trumpet sees the writing on the wall, man. He realizes he has no economy left and taps out. And Amistria actually wins that game. That was freaking crazy. Yeah, I think Trumpet could have won if he played the post engagement, you know, at the like 8:30 mark. If he played that a little better, I think he could have taken it. He didn't tap out, he starved. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, guys. Thank you for clarifying that. In the chat, lore friendly. I missed it. Dude, you'd be surprised how often I miss people starving out. Like, it seems so obvious, right? Like, there's a 60-second timer. But it happens, guys. Alright, match number 6. Let's get into it. Thanks for the clarification, though. Alright. On the left, we've got Mr. P-Boop himself and Igusta Voms. I'm just going to call him Igusta. And their opponents to the right, we've got this guy and Radsoon 970. Alright, Premium Bow, always on the hunt for a 2v2 match. Let's see what this one has in store for him. I haven't heard of Igusta or Radsoon here. Maybe they're newer players that came in with the sale. But this guy and Premium Bow are definitely both top players. I think Premium Bow has a ton of 2v2 experience probably compared to this guy. So let's see how it happens. What's up, Red Dino in the chat? How's it going, man? Always good to see y'all. Premium Bow, of course, a little bit of shenanigans here with the 5-farm snake. You don't see like 8-farm openings in 2v2 as often as you do in 1v1 because you can just kind of get rolled over if both your opponents go for like a 4-farm double. You know what I mean? Like what exactly are you going to do in that situation? The answer most of the time is just die. Where's this guy's moles? Okay. They're right there. P-Boop sees them. Is he going to have stuff out in time, though? Is this mole going to be able to knock out the Snake Warren? They do a lot of critical damage. And no, it is not. Gets it about half HP. Premium Bow didn't even flinch, man. He's just standing there like, what? Calculated. Hashtag calculated nerd. So he holds off for now. Nice little bit of defense there from Igusta. Igusta did actually get left alone, was able to go up to an 8-farm economy. This guy, as well, went up to an 8-farm economy, but rocking that super fast tier 3 Warren. I love that kind of thing. Meanwhile, Premium Bow moving in for some counter aggression here. Takes a little damage on the snake, gonna utilize that water healing to get that guy back in the fray ASAP. And a balloon coming down from Radsoon here. You know, maybe wanting to try to buffer this snake back from the aggression. Overall, it's pretty even thus far. Premium Bow's economy is lacking here. And I think Radsoon's playing this pretty nicely. You know, this Gristmill, yeah, he's going to lose 60 food out of it, but he's also delaying this push from Premium Bow, which is very, very important because Premium Bow's only on a couple farms right now, right? So this whole thing is about timing. And if you delay, yeah, you're not cost effective losing 60 food for nothing, but delaying the push another minute or so is absolutely critical when Premium Bow is not farming as well as he could be. The units are going to come back from blue and yellow and try to push back this snake aggression from green. Meanwhile, nice micro here from P-Boop, managing to keep his core units alive, losing a couple of the tier 1, but the snakes stay alive. That's really what's important here. And Augusta in the bottom, going up to tier 2, 2 base economy very, very quickly. A couple turrets there to try to feel safe. And Premium Bow just wanting to keep this aggression on, trying to pick off a squirrel or two wherever he can. Going ahead and saturating up this second base before the first, and that's mainly, again, a timing thing. It's just like, hey, this base is here. I don't have to run all the way back to my main to be able to get that going. And I like this from Premium Bow. He's not really losing anything as long as he continues to keep these snakes alive. Beautiful turret placement here from his partner. And meanwhile, on the bottom, like, Augusta's playing this very, very nicely. You know, we were speculating that Augusta and Radsoon are probably beginners because we don't recognize them, but in my opinion, they're not playing like beginners. They're both playing very smart. And Augusta is going down into 3 bases here. He's getting up a Fox, which is going to hit the board very soon. Is it going to be able to wiggle its way? No. Well, he can kind of come in up here, but he's got to go through the balloon. It's going to be difficult to harass with that Fox. Directly onto the mineral patches of his opponents, but he can still get in there and help P-Boop on the front lines. Alright, Premium Bow continuing to buckle down on this expansion position here with a little bit of help from his bro in red, who meanwhile, again, man, I feel like Red's the sleeper. Like, yeah, we've kind of all cameras on Premium Bow up here up top as he's microing and bobbing and weaving and getting something done. Beautiful balloon placement, by the way, from Radsoon. I wouldn't hate to see this balloon sold. Like, it's weird to say because, yeah, this balloon is going to help prevent the Fox from getting in the back and dealing some damage, but yellow and blue don't know about the Fox, do they? Yeah, they don't know about the Fox, so according to the information that's present for them, I'd like to see this balloon get sold, just so they can creep forward with, with additional, maybe take the space or something like that. But keeping that balloon there in the long run is going to help. And now Premium Bow is not going to be happy, as this guy has 2 owls on the board that are starting to harass his position, and he's got 3 more on the way, a total of 5 owls. Augusta has been macroing super hard, but he needs to get up here and help out his buddy P-Boop, or he's going to get overrun in this 1v2. Now Augusta's on the way with some reinforcements here and some swift ones at that, with Lizard and Fox coming into the fray. Both units that should fare very nicely against the composition from their opponents. Those Lizards can get in there and delete these balloons. That'll open up some paths for the Fox. And yeah, the Fox is not good against the Owl on paper, but with some target fire You know, if it's got some room, if it's got some buffer against the mice, it can get in there and knock those owls out. And for now, green and red are gonna survive. In my opinion, yellow and blue are looking great. Blue really needs an expansion, though. We're well past the 5-minute mark when farms start going hollow. There we go. Or fallow, rather. I apologize, guys. But this guy is just building up this monumental army. But Augusta going up to 3 foxes here. Premium Bow with just a ragtag composition. Trying to get this wolf on the board. Trying to hold on. But man, look at Augusta just taking everything on the map. And all this power play from green, all this hyper positioning here, has really opened up a lot of these gristmills to get claimed by green and red, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 for green and red versus 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for yellow and blue. So if this game does drag on, eventually green and red will have access to more income with the battle lines currently how they are. However, yellow has such a powerful army right here, right now, with these 5 owls that are just going to continue to produce a massive amount of free units. Blue, in a similar situation to green. Green and blue have kind of been fighting each other all game long in these small skirmishes. They're both a little broke. They're both dealing with small armies here, but their teammates have been given the wiggle room to really power up. Nice job keeping that fox alive at 1 HP. But this onslaught from the owls is just not going to stop anytime soon. You know, this is continual pressure. This is continuing to trade out free units for units that cost food, right? And over time, this guy is just going to get more and more value. And the fact that he's going up to 8 owls whole, like, in total, is absolutely insane. Like, 8 owls is a proper late game army composition. You know, that's nothing to bat an eye at. And how is green and red really gonna deal with this? You know, fox doesn't scale as well as owl does. You know, really 1 fox is all you need. 2 or 3, like, all right, you're being a little silly, but I think there's some pro players who can prove me wrong there and say, well, actually, you know, 2 foxes are good in this situation, and et cetera, et cetera. But it's nothing like having 2 or 3 owls compared to 1, you know. But surprisingly, red and green are able to move forward. A lot of these falcons here from red doing quite a lot of work. The badger on the way from Premium Bow. This is just non-stop action this game. But how is red and green gonna crack this defense of 7 owls? That's really the question on my mind, and probably on your mind as a viewer as well. Like, it's rough. Premium Bow doesn't really have a supplemental economy here, right? It's not like, yeah, yellow and blue have the better comp, but red and green just way out-income them. I mean, red's income is very, very nice, but is it going to be enough against all these free units? Like, look at this swarm of mice coming in, trading very effectively. Like, when this continues to happen over and over, there's going to be a problem. However, blue and yellow really don't have any units that hit air. They only have 2 squirrels. Like, all these skunks and wolf and owl, none of that can deal with these falcons here. None of that can deal with the balloons, but now the foxes are starting to get surrounded by the mice. They're all at 1 HP. They all go down besides 1 hero fox that remains, but, oh, it barely lives. That is still very bad for Augusta. The momentum is definitely in yellow and blue's favor at the moment. Augusta is going to go ahead and sell down one of those foxes, but commits to try to get his second fox back on the playing field. Meanwhile, this guy smells blood in the water, looking for another way to come in. He kind of already won the victory up top by destroying Premium Bow's base. Gonna see if he can start dealing some damage down south with just so many mice here on the board. That fox is gonna fall. But again, man, yellow and blue don't have any anti-air. This guy literally doesn't have a single anti-air unit in his deck. He's completely relying on Radsoon's squirrels. Between the 2 of them, they've only got squirrel and balloon that can even hit air. Is that going to be enough? Like, is Augusta going to be able to come back on the back of a big flock of falcons, or is Premium Bow going to be able to get it done with his badger? Premium Bow doing some housekeeping on the base. Oh my god. Is Augusta really going to win with 9 falcons? Like, is that what we're watching here? Okay, 3 squirrels are on the board. Really hard to target fire those squirrels with so much going on. The Squirrels are actually doing work, to be honest, with so much to buffer for them. They've already killed a few Falcons here. Really got to target fire down these Owls specifically, or these Falcons are just going to waste all their DPS on the Mice. Meanwhile, Premium Bow down here with the Badger, getting things done. He's got a meme. He's got a dream. He's looking to win for his team. A single Badger with a handful of Pigeons and a couple Falcons are actually going to do it. Premium Bow knocks this guy out of the game with his sneaky Badger, as Augusta kept his opponents busy with the Falcon, but the Badger was able to get in and deal that critical damage, knock down all the Gristmills, knocking his opponent out. And my God, I feel like that sunglasses Mother of God meme right now. I can't believe Premium Bow is coming back in this game. Augusta doesn't have a whole lot left to his name, but he's still got a Fox here to try to buffer back the counterattack from his opponent. Luckily, Premium Bow's got a couple Gristmills on the map, so he's not going to get wiped out immediately if that base goes down. But up here in the top, Premium Bow with the Badger, knocking the last Gristmill out and taking the game. 3 Squirrels versus 10 Falcons, lol. Dude, they were actually doing some damage, which was crazy. Dude, that was amazing. I legit thought that that Premium Bow was going to lose there. Nicely done. Okay, guys, I apologize for taking so many breaks, but another real quick break, and then we will keep things moving. So be back in like 1 minute. Alright, apologize about that, guys. I am back. I am a human that has to use the restroom from time to time. Thanks everybody for tuning in. I got really good viewership right now, so I appreciate everybody. Y'all will be happy to hear that, you know, lately I've been thinking about how much I enjoy doing this, and to be honest, I might kick it back into gear, guys, so if that's something the community wants to see, you can tell me that you want more content like this by shooting me replays of the latest patch to ToothAndTailTV at gmail.com. If that inbox starts blowing up again, man, I consider doing like weekly shows again. To be honest, I've been kind of on and off for the past, you know, almost year now, I guess, and I really enjoy it. You know, it's a fun way to spend my spare time. I love casting and talking about video games, and I love this community, so I'm willing to kick it back up if you guys are, man. Submit replays to my email for the next show. If I do get some replays by July 5th or 6th, which is not this Friday coming up, but next weekend, I'll probably do another show then. And then before we get into the next match, let me do my plugging here. Let's talk about the upcoming event me and Premium Bow are putting together. It's going to be the 2v2 Bizarre Random RNG FTW Tournament. AV Ultima and myself will be casting that here on ToothAndTailTV. It's going to be a ton of fun, guys. July 13th, 1 p.m. EST. One thing that's always really impressed me about the competitive scene in Tooth and Tail is we almost never have like regular tournaments. I mean, I've done a ton of tournaments in this scene, and every single one is unique, and this one is no different. This time around, guys, it is random teams between every single match, and random decks, and of course, just the standard random maps. We're not doing workshop maps or anything like that. So it's going to be a ton of fun. So, like, straight up random teams is in round of 16, you'll have a random teammate. If you qualify for round of 8, great. You're going to get a new random teammate, etc., etc. There's going to be a loser's bracket. There's going to be $10 Steam gift card to both members of the winning team, courtesy of me, Delthius, coming out of my pocket. And it's going to be a ton of fun, guys. So we're not doing a challenge or anything like that, since it's kind of random. You're going to sign up individually. There's a link under the stream you're watching right now, under the Tooth and Tail events section. It might be a little hard to see. It says, like, sign up here, and you click on here. That brings you to the Discord. In the Discord, go to the sign up channel, and then just ping me or Premium Bo and say, hey, I want to sign up, and that's all you got to do. I'm really excited about this because we've seen a little bit of influx of new players post Steam sale. So it's a great opportunity if you're new to the game to get into a competitive event, because, you know, it's going to be a mix of newbies and veterans, you know, kind of clashing together on random teams, you know. So you, as a beginner, you might get teamed up with somebody like the Gentleman or Mishi or whoever, you know, any of these top dogs. So it's going to be a lot of fun, guys. So sign up for that, or tune in, or chat about it, or be part of it in whatever way, shape, or form. I think that's one of the great things about this game, is we have a nice little competitive scene. And my advice, man, is don't take it too seriously. Don't be shy, and just sign up and have some fun with us. So, okay, announcement over. Let's get back into the matches here. And I also wanted to give a shout out to Illuminatus, man. That dude's been putting in so much work for the Tooth and Tail scene, basically since day one. Congratulations, he's now part of the Pocketwatch Games team. He's going to be overseeing, kind of doing project management on Tooth and Tail moving forward, as Andy and the rest of the guys focus on their new game that they're making. So we'll have Eel here to whine about balance too. Okay. Alright, guys. Let's hop into match number 7. Spawning in the left, we've got Lego Man 96. And his opponent to the right, Kalaru. Alright. It's going to be a good match here. Lego Man is no slouch himself, but Kalaru is kind of one of these guys I've been keeping my eye on as an up-and-comer for possibly one of the top Tooth and Tail players in modern Tooth and Tail, in my opinion. I know I say that about everybody coming into the games, but it's true. Like, a lot of the replays we've seen tonight have been from some modern players that are really on top of their game. And Kalaru is no stranger to that, no exception to that rule. But what I love about Kalaru is he's kind of paved his own unique style. He's very, very well known for his Fox and Artillery Cannon play, which we see him utilizing here in this deck. Meanwhile, Lego Man's kind of running a little bit of that classic chip from outer space composition here. You know, I think the only difference is that classic chip build has, like, balloons instead of snake, if I'm remembering that right. But regardless, you know, very tried and true composition here from Lego Man, I feel like. He's got some decent options to scale into the late game. A little bit lacking on the tier 1 in this patch 1.4 meta, but I think he'll be okay with that Skunk. You can kind of get away with a lot of stuff in your deck composition when you have a unit like Skunk, because the Skunk just kind of browns things out so nicely. You know what I mean? Like, you can be a little crazy and not run things like toads or moles and probably still be okay. So Kalaru positioning his initial, I should say, tier 1 warns a bit aggressively. Lego Man's going to come in and get the scout that it's a 4 tier 1 opening from Kalaru, which definitely signifies a little bit of aggression. Meanwhile, Lego Man hasn't quite committed. Looks like he's going to go for a tier 2 here. So 3 tier 1 into a tier 2. I think that's okay. I feel like that could be streamlined a little bit into 1 or 2 tier 1 into a tier 2. But again, it also depends on how he wants to follow this up. And Kalaru actually just going to use these 4 initial Tier 1 Warrens to buffer into a quick expansion. Very small map here, and actually very even map in my opinion. Like, yeah, if you really get down to it, of course, there's some more resources on Kalaru's side of the map. But both players have really nice access to a second and third base, and 9 times out of 10, that's really what it comes down to, so... Sad we can't wind a Massa anymore, says Dino. Oh, we can certainly still wind a Massa. In fact, I encourage winding to Massa. As much as he hates me saying that. Winding to Master Stealth is probably one of my favorite things in the world to do. I'm not gonna lie. Okay, so... Not a whole lot's happened just yet. I feel like Kalaru is in a slightly better spot here, as Legoman is just kind of hanging out. Is Legoman going to go for a 1 base all-in, is the question. Because Kalaru is not committing super hard to that second base, you know, just taking a farm, just kind of hanging out. But as it stands, if Legoman doesn't attack and take advantage of the fact that Kalaru's invested 120 food into Eco that Legoman has not, okay, you know, now Legoman takes the expansion, so... Again, I actually like this position for Kalaru a lot better because I feel like it's a little bit indecisive from Legoman, but as I say that, my man throws down the Wolf Warren, so now we're on Team Legoman. I'm sorry, Kalaru. I mean, he's got the Wolf. What do you want from me? But no, in all seriousness, like, Kalaru doesn't scout the Wolf Warren here. But I feel a little bit of indecisiveness from Legoman. Like, it started out like he was gearing up for a big 1 base all-in. But then he kind of changes his mind and goes for 2 base play. He's trying to poke and prod in with the snakes. Gonna lose a pigeon, but he's gonna keep the snakes alive. Barely at 1 HP. I was not quite sure what was gonna happen as I was saying it. But he manages to keep that alive, so no harm, no foul, kinda. But Kalaru's got the economy advantage. You know, he's not that far behind, and actually he's pulled ahead in army. So Legoman, the thing that he's really got going for him is this Wolf, but now the artillery cannon is here, which is going to buffer quite a bit here for Kalaru. It's going to be hard for Legoman to really get in here and do that harassment that he's been looking to do. But this artillery cannon is a very safe cannon. It's not like straight up YOLO right on the front lines or anything, you know. It's in a very defendable position. It's going to make it hard for Legoman to directly attack in, but at the same time, Kalaru can't be super abusive with it, right? However, Legoman is going to capitalize on that death from Kalaru's commander. Is that pig actually going to live? It does. I think something happened with the poison stacks there when it transitioned from being a building to a unit, right? Alright, the wolf is here. Let's see how Legoman can utilize it. However, Kasha is on the way. And I feel like the wolf is just mainly going to hang out to increase economic production for the time being. And I'm getting a little worried, man. I kind of like Kalaru's army scaling into the late game a little bit more. Then again, Legoman does have the Falcons, which scale very, very nicely. It can also deal with things like the artillery cannon. However, the Fox is very good against Falcons, so I don't know. Ooh, nice usage of steroided snakes here. Try to get in and knock out this building Gristmill. Maybe he's actually going to be able to get it with all this poison. Yeah, it looks like it's going to go down. Nice little denial there from Legoman. Essentially for free. I don't think he really lost anything doing that. Was that a bug? I'm not sure. Somebody should clip that and show it to Eel if somebody out there is not feeling particularly lazy. Because I'm not crazy, right? It looked like when the pig went from a building structure into a unit, it still had stacks of poison on it, but it looked like it was no longer taking damage from those stacks of poison. Not Eel, to Massa. I like the way you're thinking. Bug Massa stealth as much as possible. No, don't do that, guys. But kind of do that low-key. Just don't say, I told you to do it. It's not like he's going to watch this and hear me say that, right? P-Boops on top of that clipping. Thank you so much, man. Yeah, that's something, no, all jokes aside, that is something I'd like to let either Illuminos or Massive Stealth take a look at, because I don't think that was functioning as intended. Alright, another artillery cannon here from Claro. I'm curious that he didn't sell off that back one, because it looks like he's trying to leapfrog forward, right? So it would be a good time to try to get that back one up and running. This is kind of cute, too, that he's built this Kasha, but he hasn't rallied it yet. Okay, now he's going to show it. The Wolf, however, is pretty decent anti-fox repellent spray, as that additional movement speed buff makes the fox a little bit less abusive. You know, something like a snake or a falcon can get in on it very quickly, as opposed to just being kited to death. And you know, Lego Man's actually doing a pretty good job trying to control Kalaru as best he can. I don't think he's like, he knows this third base exists, but he's not aware of it. That's kind of the linchpin for Kalaru right now. Like, Lego Man can't really get to this. This is why I'm actually a huge fan of stuff like this. Like, Kalaru could have expanded into his pocket base initially, but kind of taking that risk and getting out on the field and securing these forward bases first. It's like, now you've got this pocket base to just take conveniently. You know, there's no way that Lego Man is going to get all the way back and harass that. You know, Lego Man's going to have to break through the front, and if he was able to do that, then you're kind of dead anyways. Fox number 2 and Wolf number 2 on the way for both players here. As we're kind of building up into some Death Ball armies, I might actually go ahead and do a little fast forwarding here to keep things entertaining for all you lovely nerds out there in the internet watching me. Massa has been alerted. Thank you, Mr. Premium Bow. As we're in a little bit of a lull this game, you know, sometimes this happens when both players are trying to get to, like, Super Saiyan 3, you know? And just powering up. We're kind of in those filler episodes at the moment, where you're just like, come on, man, just fight Frieza already. Dude, I gotta get some fresher anime references. I think I'm dating myself too hard for my Dragon Ball Z references. Okay, okay. Do the kids nowadays even know who Goku is? I'm sure they do. I'm just joking, you guys. Nice snake harassment here from Lego Man. Trying to get done what he can, but he overextends a little bit there, and Kalaru pounces on with the full force of his army. But now Kalaru is really taking the step forward that he wanted to try to get that artillery up. However, Lego Man targeted that down very succinctly and has a monumental army left over compared to Kalaru. A fantastic engagement here from Lego Man. But all these artillery cannons that Kalaru has been building up over time are really coming into play. Like these 2 or 3 back ones, you know, kind of answering my question to why didn't you sell that earlier and just leapfrog forward? Well, that's the answer right there, Delthius. They're kind of covering that leapfrog position. And sure, maybe if Kalaru got 1 or 2 drum fires on the front lines, he would sell off this back one. But even though Lego Man just won that fight very nicely, it's still difficult to, you know, engage into 3 drumfire cannons like this. See, I need more arty. Dude, 3 artillery is not enough, man. Those are rookie numbers. You gotta get those numbers up. I'd like to see Lego Man kind of play around this and get that big Falcon army up, right? And say, screw your artillery cannon, I'm just gonna fly over it. Now, is there... Okay, if Lego Man was really feeling froggy, he could, like, sneak in this back way and get through there. But that's always easier said than done. He is aware of it. He did get a nice scout off on the map. But if Lego Man did decide to do that, then Kalaru could simply go into a base race scenario with him. But Lego Man's economy's not keeping up with Kalaru. And this is the phase of the game that I was worried about earlier, where I was saying, you know, most games of Tooth and Tail don't go past 2 or 3 bases, where, well, we're getting to that situation now, since we had that filler arc, where we are getting to that 3, 4, and 5 base phase of the game. And this is where Lego Man's just simply going to bleed dry, based on the architecture of this map. So I'm getting a little worried for Lego Man. You know, this is definitely a situation where Lego Man is the protagonist. He's got to get something done here. Kalaru can just sit back and be a happy camper and continue to take more and more farms. Where Lego Man's starting to get limited here. Kalaru's already doubling his economy. But I think these army compositions do favor Lego Man if he can get that right engagement. No squirrels at all for Lego Man anymore. I think that might be a little bit of a mistake, opting instead for a lot of pigeons. Lego Man's trying to push the pressure forward, and I feel like he's taking some good engagements. Losing that woof is kind of the nail in the coffin, unfortunately. Well, as I say that, Kalaru does start to starve out here, and the economy's stabilized a little bit, but now we're into this scrappy army composition situation where the Fox really, really shines. Going to be able to come in here, one-shot most of the Tier 1, one-shot that Falcon. And this is starting to look rough for Lego Man. He does have a couple more farms down here he can take. I wonder if he's kind of keeping those as starvation farms. And Lego Man is kind of bleeding his opponent dry, but again, when we're in these scrappy situations and I've got a Fox, I've got a couple artillery cannons, like this is ideal here for Kalaru. And Kalaru is no slouch when it comes to Fox control. He's going to be able to abuse the hell out of this unit, come in here and continue to force damage. And I think this is the last stand here from Lego Man as Kalaru comes in to seal the deal. I think Lego Man took some initial engagements pretty nicely. Oh, but the Fox goes down. I think it might be a little too late, however. Well, let's see. Like, Lego Man's got the better economy. He doesn't have any Squirrel Warrens, though. Like, why, Lego Man? You gotta have those grunts on the front line to soak the damage, right? He's got, like, a very high-tech army here. He does get the wolf out. Killing that Fox was huge. Kalaru trying to recommit to that Fox, but he's not going to be able to keep that Fox and that turret. There's no way, Jose. And he needs to sell off one of those in favor of the other. And no, he's going to try to figure out a way to get this Fox building again. But he's got a big army on the board. Lego Man's got a small but technical army. Is it enough? However, these pigeons helping to keep this wolf alive. He really can't afford to lose this tier 3 again. 3 stacks of poison, 5 stacks of poison on this wolf. And even with a couple of pigeons healing, it's just not enough. And Kalaru actually loses all of his army. Like, what am I talking about? I'm hyping up the wrong side here. Lego Man manages to stay alive with a single snake and a dream. He's got the economy. He just can't push in. Kalaru did eventually sell that Fox Warren, knowing it's not going to come back out. But I feel like Lego Man's mistake here was abandoning the tier 1. I feel like if he had just a couple squirrels to his name, he could maybe do something, as Kalaru is constantly able to re-rally up squirrels in small numbers like this. And when we're in small, scrappy engagements such as these, I feel like the tier 1 really outshines the tier 2. And Kalaru somehow, some way, after a roller coaster game, looks like he's going to be able to finally seal this one out, as he's on top of all the Warrens here. But really impressive resilience here from Lego Man, to be honest. I thought this game was over a couple times before it really was. Lego Man really just trying to secure these ladder points here. But I think that's all she wrote moving forward here. I had to hype it up a little bit. Hey, what's up, Sakio, man? Gifted a sub to Premium Bow. Look at that, dude. Good to see you, Sakio. I miss you, man. We need to do some collaboration, dude. Even if I just get you on some replay casting or something. But Sakio NA, guys, if you're new to the scene, is the host and founder of the Tooth and Tail League, competitive Tooth and Tail, basically long-form tournament. Fantastic caster. He's got a wonderful channel over on Twitch TV/BestSakioNA. Does a lot of Tooth and Tail stuff. Does some other games as well. Always a pleasure casting with that guy. Good to see him in the chat. I'm around, just super busy. I promise I'll be back into TNT soon. Dude, I'm the same way, man. I have been so slammed lately with real life. My contributions have also dropped off lately, but I'm trying to get back into it, man. I'd love to see you do the same. I'm always willing to collaborate. Just hit me up and let's do something. Okay, guys. Let's keep this bad boy rolling. Match number 8. Let's get into it. Okay, spawning in the bottom, we've got Big Pimpintosh. And his opponent to the right, Doohoo. Oh, Doohoo rocking that double tier 3 after my heart, man. Meanwhile, Pimpatosh going aggro here. 3 tier 1 and 3 tier 2. I'm thinking the multiple tier 2 from Big Pimpatosh here is mainly to just kind of have a Swiss Army knife kind of composition, right? I'm not really envisioning him building into a little bit of everything. I'm thinking, you know, he's got basically all you need besides the pigeons to do a nice one base skunk push. He can get into ferrets if that's necessary, and if the game goes too long, he can whip out that large flock of falcons. Meanwhile, on Doohoo's side, I love Doohoo's deck, man. I love this kind of creative, outlandish kind of thing we see here. Just trying to use the squirrels, toads, and moles to kind of buffer this early game in order to set himself up, maybe behind a balloon or two, to get out a big fox and owl composition, and then in the late game go into just a huge balloon wall with a big economy and a lot of owls. Big league, 100% from Doohoo. Doohoo is definitely a macro style player. He likes to get into these long game situations whenever he's able to. Meanwhile, I feel like Big Pimpatosh is a little bit more of a well-rounded player. It's kind of hard to typecast him into a specific build, deck, or strategy. You never quite know what Big Pimpatosh is going to throw at you. Just like this right here. Like he's whipping out this hidden base style. And Doohoo's got to know something's up. Well, not necessarily. He did see the Warren. He did see the 2 Warrens. So yeah, no red flags are really going off on his mind right now. Oh my god, Doohoo. Okay. I was going to say, if he just happens to go up there and scout, that would be crazy. Alright, so let's see where this game goes from here. So far, it looks like Tosh is setting up for a big one-base skunk push. Meanwhile, it looks like Doohoo is just kind of building enough tier 1 to not die as he tries to get into an eco. I imagine he's going to continue sniffing out his opponent, trying to identify what build they're going into. You know, building enough units to hold on, eking out as many farms as he can on top of that, and then trying to get into those big juicy tier 3 units. He's even going to go ahead and throw down a safety balloon here to guard his bases. I wouldn't have hated to see this balloon like right here on this high ground, to be honest, like right there, because then it would protect all 3 of these bases. I mean, granted, the balloon does have quite a long attack and vision range, so it still is kind of protecting this base here. One thing that's kind of nice for Doohoo is these couple campfires, or cabins rather, in the middle of the map that have to be dealt with by Doohoo, or Tosh rather, to attack into him. But this is a really sneaky base from Tosh, right? Like, Doohoo is totally reading this like Tosh wants to all-end me. But really, Tosh is actually building up a better economy than Doohoo is via this hidden base in the 9 o'clock position. So great mind games here from Big Pimpatosh. Really kind of selling Doohoo a story, you know, but it's really just sleight of hand. Like, if I'm Doohoo, I'm totally bracing for impact, which is exactly what Doohoo's doing. He's building multiple defensive structures. He's building a lot of tier 1 and delaying that tier 3, delaying additional farms on the second base. Just so he simply doesn't die, right? To Big Pimpatosh coming in here and running him over. Woody pun in the chat. Watching this back, I literally had no idea what I'm doing. Listen, man. Let me give you more credit than you deserve, okay? I'm trying to conjure up a story here, right? Dude, I hear that all the time from players. It's actually kind of hilarious, where I'll go into like deep analysis on what they're doing. They're like, yeah, that's really smart, but I was actually just kind of zoned out, you know, kind of half watching this League of Legends stream and just kind of building stuff. And I'm like, listen, man, just don't look a gift horse in the face, okay? Let me talk you up a little bit. All right, so Big Pimpatosh gonna use these ferrets to knock out this this cabin here. And yeah, I can kind of see it coming through now, but again, I still favor Tosh's position. Like, it's a shame he doesn't have a tier 3 to round things out. Like, he does have the Falcon, which is nice. Like, you can scale with a Falcon. Falcon's kind of like tier 2.5 in that weird way, if that makes sense. So he's not totally down and out, but he's really made Doohoo pee his pants over here. Like, look at this, 3 balloons, you know, only a few farms on this base, and rightfully so. Like, Doohoo is reading this 100% correctly. I'm sure Doohoo was very frustrated after watching the replay and realizing Tosh has just been so greedy this game. That could be one of the most frustrating things in Tooth and Tail, especially in scrappy matches where you're just like calculating so hard and using all your experience and game sense, and then you lose and you're just like, I have no idea how this happened. Then you watch a replay and it's like, well, they had a campfire you didn't realize, and you're like, damn it. So things like that can definitely happen. And I gotta say, Doohoo's been pretty duped, you know? Tosh has got the better economy. Doohoo's invested so much into this balloon. Like, I'd really love to see Tosh just, yeah, saturate up this third base, start getting a flock of owls out, or falcons out, rather. Like, the fox is still going to be an issue for Tosh. He doesn't have any really good anti-fox units in his deck. And you can't really attack into this position from Doohoo. Like, that's just not going to happen. Doohoo's just simply invested so much in balloons. But is it going to be enough? Like, his economy is pretty delayed compared to Big Pimp and Tosh. So I don't know, man. We'll do a little bit of fast forwarding, as it looks like we got a lull in this game as both players are kind of macroing up. And is Doohoo finally going to get the scout? Oh, he's going to be so pissed. Watch this. See if you can feel the nerd rage. Oh, he doesn't scout at Doohoo! Come on, man. Oh, so close. But he does go back at a nice time as Tosh is starting to position an attack here. But man, that's so many balloons. One does go down. Significant losses from Tosh's part to get that accomplished. And now the fox is here, which is going to make it a lot harder for Tosh to actually siege, as this fox is going to be able to buffer this attacking force back. So this is going to get rough for Tosh. Let's see how he handles it. Like, this is a bad position when you don't have any really good units to deal with this fox, and you're just kind of slowly but surely getting poked down to death. I felt that nerd rage, but it wasn't from Doohoo. I was mad for Doohoo right there. Like, he was so close, you guys. Like, where did he get? Like, he got, like, right there and just turned around. But at this point, it doesn't really matter, even if he did know. Like, Doohoo is really behind in economy. His army value has been inflated up a little bit from the balloons, but you have to keep that in mind. Like, how much money is that in balloons there? 5 times 120, so 600. So really, his army value is like a third of the way down on the map where it shows. But Doohoo's been doing a really good job harassing with this fox. He's gotten quite a lot of damage in already. Sometimes you gotta be worried though, as these ferrets get into higher and higher numbers, like these random pop shots onto the fox can actually get a kill. So it's a lot more common than you think it might be, to be honest. Because these random shots, you know, once you get up to 4, 5, 6 ferrets, you know, actually start compounding into some reliable damage. But the owls are on the way from the back of this on Doohoo's part. But again, Doohoo just doesn't have the economy. Like, the economy here from Tosh is out of control. I'm curious if he just, like, snuck his way into, like, a chokehold down here or something. Like, imagine if Tosh, like, took his whole army and went up this right here, right? And then just attacked from the back away from all these balloons. He might be able to get something done better there. But then again, base racing is a weird, like, typically if you're ahead, you don't want to force a base race, right? Like, a base race is kind of a last-ditch effort kind of thing you do when you're behind. And I would kind of coin Big Pimpatosh ahead in this game for sure. Like, it sucks for him that he doesn't really have a way to transition into Tier 3. But Doohoo's... Oh, apologize, guys. Doohoo's definitely not out of this. You know, he's got these Tier 3 units on his side. The owls are slowly but surely working up in number. And good job from Doohoo as well, not revealing any of those. but just this constant harassment from Doohoo might eventually make up for his eco deficit. Really getting so much value out of this Fox. But he's got to start spending some money, man. He's got to take another base. He's got to saturate up. Like, the problem is taking a third base is very difficult for Doohoo here because he drew this battle line kind of where it's not really protecting the front. And yeah, Doohoo can try to take some, oh, is he just going to toad this? Big Pimpatosh. You could have brought your squirrels up there, bro, or your moles. I mean, that was still awesome watching toads blow up a gristmill, but highly inefficient, sir. What's that BM, says the chat. Yeah, is Tosh just feeling so good in this game? Where he's like, man, I could throw away 200 food to take that out. I don't even care. I think the intent from that move was not moving his entire army out of position, but he could have done that with his moles or his squirrels and not lost all his toads there. Maybe that was a little showboating from Tosh's side. We'll see if he's still watching the stream if he wants to defend himself. But man, this Fox is just getting so much work done constantly. Might have to hit that fast forward button again. All right, Doohoo is finally pulling the trigger here. Maybe not for an entire engagement, but at least to secure this base. And here we go. These toads from Big Pimpatosh are absolutely monumental. The entire army of Doohoo collapses in and clumps up to a nice little ball of units that just gets exploded upon by the toads. And now Tosh is going to try to move in. All Doohoo has left are these owls, a couple tier 1 units, and these balloons on the board. But so many ferrets in the background, raining hell. And the ferrets, dude, 9 ferrets. Big Pimpatosh, able to seal the deal on the back of a long macro game. Really, the MVP was that hidden base. You know, I feel like Doohoo played correctly based on the information that he had, but Tosh kind of, you know, sold him one thing and was doing something else, which is kind of in the heart of what Tooth and Tail is all about. And off the back of it, secures a nice win. I think it makes perfect sense that Tosh came out on top there. All right, guys. Match number 9. Let's hop into it. Spawning in the bottom, rocking the Wolf Fox, we've got Kerpa. And his opponent up top, Neo Zelandis Demo. I think I'm just going to call him or her or non-gender binary Demo. So let's see how this plays out. Pretty interesting comps from both sides here. Not really cookie cutter or meta decks, quote unquote. So I'm looking forward to this one. Map definitely looks better here for Kerpa. I mean, look at this castle, as I call it, where you kind of have these 4 gristmills and this nice diamond formation here. You really can't ask for a better spawn from Kerpa. And Kerpa's gonna 4-farm double on this map. Kerpa, you're such a madman. Typically, I like plays like 4-farm double where you're like, crap, this map's kind of bad for me. Let me take a big risk. But I mean, this map is cream of the crop here for Kerpa. This map is lobster and scallops here. But he's gonna come in with the 4-farm double. It looks like Demo was able to scout it out and responded nicely. Gonna get a little bit of damage in for his trouble. Is he gonna be able to get that second pig? We always want to get that second pig and we just never do. Nice defense there from Demo. I think he's gonna come out on top of that. And he's in a good position to kind of bounce back from this. Now, as much as I was saying this map looks great for Kerpa, which is true, this isn't terrible for Demo. He's got access to a campfire here. He's got access to a campfire there. And he's got a second base that's fairly reasonable. So it's not, you know, too bad for a red player. I definitely like Kerpa's spawn a bit more. It looks like Demo is going to try to come in with the counterattack here. Rockus Bacchus in the chat. What's up, man? Good to see you. All right, Demo gonna come in, knock out a Warren, and just back off. Oh, man, I love that. Oh, Demo. Demo, you just made my night. That's the kind of thing we need to see players do more and more often, in my opinion. He comes in, he gets a little bit of counter damage, he doesn't overcommit and turn a good thing into a bad thing, right? He just takes his victory and he goes home. And he's gonna try to stabilize this out. Now, Kerpa might actually, well, to be fair, like the difference in the farms, well, actually, Demo hasn't taken this last one in the top yet, so that could add up. Kerpa gonna go ahead and try to expand it. Demo get that scout? No, he didn't. But Demo does have that campfire, so keep that in mind. So overall, I feel like this is stabilizing into a fairly similar position here for both players. We're just gonna have to see how it pans out from this point moving forward. Is Kerpa really gonna commit to this second base? Is he gonna just build a couple farms and, you know, get into a couple different units? But Kerpa here, a madman, after my heart with this deck composition. No tier 2 at all. We don't need no stinky skunks. Okay, we're going Fox Wolf turret. And I'm a big fan of this. It's a little wild, but we'll see if he can pull it off. I feel like Kerpa is going to want to try to keep a good eye on his opponent, build some clutch turrets if he has to, and try to eke out a quick Woofer Fox AFAP. Meanwhile, Demo's not messing around. It looks like he's gearing up for a one-base play, but as I say that, he does take that second base. So maybe he's not going to get too crazy here. The 8th farm is not that important anyways. How dare you, sir? How dare you, Kalaru? In before Kalaru like whips out some map and some math and shows like, actually, you know, if you look at the progression of 7 farm versus 8 farm over a 3-minute time frame, you can see that the 8th farm actually doesn't add that much money. Okay. Demo poking forward, but I think this is a little bit of a feint. Well, as I say that, is he going to actually commit to this attack? He needs to keep this Chameleon alive. That's #1 priority. The Chameleon does go down. These Toads do not get the engagements they were looking for, and this is going to turn into a very nice defense here from Kerpa. He does end up losing a Warren, but I feel like he traded well enough. Yeah, look at that army value spike. Just downhill there for Demo. That's not what he wants to see. I shall build a 7-farm skunk bush that will impress you. Let me see it, man. Let me see it. But the thing is, any build that is sub-8 farm... Okay, I'm going to make a broad statement here that I feel like is correct. Any build that is a pre-8 or sub-8 farm build is inherently a timing attack. Okay, Demo moving forward again. Really wanting to break the back of his opponent. But can Kerpa hang on is the question. The big important units here are the Chameleons, and he does get the re-stealth on the Chameleons. Very nicely done here from Demo. He needs to keep these Chameleons alive. That's the #1 priority. Oh my god, he did it. He needs to just get out of here. He needs to bail. No, he's going to continue to move forward. The woof is here from Kerpa. But at the same time, you know, maybe I was overvaluing these Chameleons. He does continue the attack. Yeah, no, I was right. I know what I'm talking about. I've watched a few hundred games of Tooth and Tail. So those Chameleons were so low. Like, if Demo would have just pulled back, excuse me, like reinforced with a few more tier 1, let those Chameleons heal back up, he would have been in good shape. But again, it's so easy to smell blood in the water in this game. He was like, okay, I dealt some, like, almost critical damage. Let me see if I can go in there and seal the deal. Overextends into that defender's advantage. And now Kerpa's got a chance to try to come back here. However... he's only on a few farms on the main base. He did establish a second base here with 1 farm. He's got a turret up, but Demo is going to pounce on that turret, knock it out immediately. So many squirrels here from Demo, but the Fox is on the board. Does Kerpa have the Fox micro to pull this game back? Oh man, and a buffed up Fox. This is what I'm talking about. I feel like Kerpa made this game just for me. Oh, this is so good. Oh, get in there, Kasha. Look at this. This is ridiculous. 3 HP on the Fox. Oh, the Fox getting backed up into the corner, though. Kerpa getting a little greedy. Oh, dude, that Chameleon was almost a hero Chameleon, but the Fox got the shot off right before the mallet came down. Kerpa off 2 farms. A fox, a wolf, a meme, and a dream. Looking to steal this one out. 3 HP on this fox. Constantly buffed up. Damn. Wonderful game here from Kerpa. Almost did it there from Demo. I think he had some real big spikes. He had some real good attacks, but he just kind of overcommitted in certain phases of the game. 5 farm, 2 squirrel, 1 pigeon, mine rush. I like that. I like that a lot. Damn, man. I really thought that that fox was going to die to the chameleon when it got back in the corner. I wonder if the steroid, like, made the difference there, right? Like, I feel like a regular fox probably wouldn't have got the shot off before the chameleon strikes, you know what I mean? But since it had the steroid, had that attack speed buff, I think it was able to do it. Alright, guys, we're going to get a little silly here. We're going to go into a free-for-all. Let's hop into it. Oh, man, I got a bunch of Discord pings. I wonder if that's important. In the left, we've got bot, question marks, and an X. Over here, in the bottom right, we've got lore friendly, spawning right next to lore friendly in a free-for-all. This is ridiculous. Somebody clip this and send it to Illuminatus. It's Kim Jong-swoon. Alright, then we got Droopy Manus, 230. In the top, as Hopper. Dude, look at this. Come on, guys. Somebody needs to get on the phone with Andy Schatz about this one. I am upset. This triggers me as a Tooth and Tail competitive caster. Like, look at this. This isn't a 2v2, you guys. This is a free-for-all. Okay, we had one worse than this one time. We did have a game where it was a free-for-all, where the opponents spawned, where the pigs were actually in firing range of one another. So lore-friendly, not messing around with a 5-farm double here. Kim Jong-swoon trying to bring the glory back into his favor with a 4-farm double. That was a 2v2. Oh, really? So then, all right, Premium Bow, back me up on this. Is this the worst spawn we've ever seen in a free-for-all? Even in a 2v2, it's kind of shoddy, but come on, man. Look at this. No? This is not the worst spawn in a free-for-all. P-Boop is arguing in the chat. And a free-for-all is pretty common, says this guy. Maybe I don't mess around in free-for-alls enough, but I'm offended personally by this. This makes me want to write my congressman. We have had this close, but one guy was on high ground. Oh, that's even worse. If this happens in the 2v2 tournament, please don't redo the match. We are not redoing any matches in the 2v2 tournament. Are you kidding me? Are you signed up for that, Kerpa? If not, you should be. The rest of you should be too. It's gonna be good. Yeah, Kerpa's in. Oh man, alright, that's what I thought. I thought you were in there. I was pretty sure. Okay. Alright, so I've been kind of derping around this game, I'm not gonna lie. I'm kind of keeping focus on blue and green down here. You know, really, Droopy Manus's position is the best in these kind of situations. What is the Manus player? Is this, do you guys think this is Smurf from, God, why am I blanking on the guy's name? I apologize, my memory is terrible sometimes. But we have, like, a dude in the scene who's got a Manus name that's pretty noticeable. Manus Shrimp, thank you, P-Boop. God, #1 mod NA, Premium Bow. Protocam in the chat. What is up, Protocam? Good to see you, dude. Man, we saw Best Sakuya today. We saw Protocam today. It's a good day. All right, so yeah, in this position, the situation that Droopy Manus is in is definitely ideal. Even really bot over here. You know, in general, in a free-for-all, you kind of want to let the other 3 players kill themselves and kill each other while you kind of just sit back and macro up. So if either blue or green ended up winning this game, I would be very, very surprised. My opinion, right now, my contender to take it all the way is definitely Droopy Manus here with bot in 2nd place. Dude, I'm here. I'm glad to hear you're doing well, ProtoCam. Yeah, I kind of bounce around. I've been playing. I haven't been gaming too much lately. I've been working so much at my job, man. But I've been playing some Zelda Breath of the Wild. Me and the waifu Thunder Squid got really into Portal Night on our phone. Dude, listen, all we did on Sunday, I'm not gonna lie, you guys. Like, all I did on Sunday, I worked like over 50 hours last week, and I was just super dead. And, oh, hold that thought. I don't have time for anecdotes when things are actually happening in the game that I have to comment on, as Yellow is pushing in to attack Red and see if he can manage to take out this expansion. He really needs to get the kill on the expansion, but he does deal some nice damage there. He knocks out a couple farms. And he kind of pushes Red back a little bit and says, like, hey, this is my territory. But yeah, dude, on Sunday, we just watched the Pokemon anime series and ordered Pizza Hut and just played Portal Night on our phones, like co-op, double chin, and it was so much fun. Had a great day. Had a great day yesterday. All right, so Bot is moving forward again. Knocks out that red base. Very nicely done. And now he should just kind of pull back. Now Bot's in a phenomenal position. Meanwhile, down here, Blue has managed to begin the siege, as he's got the ferrets, he's got the artillery weaponry here. Meanwhile, the scrappiest game on record is still occurring at the bottom. Yeah, I know, right? You guys should fire me and get a better caster. I think that's what needs to happen. Dude, Kim Jong-swoon down here. I think the ferrets are going to seal the deal, to be honest. Oh, green! Yeah, I don't know, man. One more volley. That's it. Green is knocked out. And can Kim Jong-swoon... I like the name. It's funny. It's trolly. But it should be Kim Jong-swine. You know what I mean? If it was Kim Jong-swine, it would be a little more on brand here. But Swoon's not bad either. So I'm still kind of skeptical if he's actually going to be able to pull this off after this long tussle that he's had in the bottom corner. Meanwhile, Yellow and Red have both been powering up, but Yellow has been on the aggressive here and has kind of smelled a little bit of weakness, moves forward with a lot of moles. And is he going to be able to deal the killing blow? He's going to back off for now, but Red's literally got nothing left. Yellow is in a dominating position in this game. Kim Jong can slowly get back into this game, says chat. Hey, Gustavons, man. I think we had a game with you in it earlier. You and old P-Boop. Alright, so Bot is going to be a nice sport here. Not knock Droopy out of the game completely, as he focuses towards his opponent in the south with a lot of moles and a fox. A fox down to 4 HP, though. Need to be a little more careful. I got to baby it just a little bit. Brings it back as the moles move forward to deal some more damage here to the blue player. Kim Jong swag. Dude, Kim Jong swine, man. Come on. That's got to be the best one. Alright, so Kim Jong is out of the match. And I don't think I can hype this one up, guys. I think Bot is just going to go over there and doof upon his opponent. It's only a matter of time. An interesting game, to say the least, but a little bit weird as two players spawn so close. But that's one of the charms of Tooth and Tail, man. No, free-for-all is not really a competitive format. We did have one free-for-all tournament hosted by Jet Erickson, which was really cool. But I think that's the only free-for-all tournament we've ever had, to be honest. Maybe free-for-all could be a little bit more competitive if we had a custom map pool kind of thing. Kim Jong Swine sounds like he should have been in the civilized section of story mode. Bam! Got him, Protocam. Suck on that, civilized fans. Alright, let me check this Discord. Okay, nothing too big there. Okay, listen, guys. A couple shout-outs here on this stream. I do want to give a shout-out to the upcoming tournament Premium Bow and I are putting together. So let's go over that one more time. This is the last time, I promise. I apologize for everybody who's been watching since the beginning and seen me advertise this over and over. But I'm super hyped about it, man. We got a random 2v2 tournament coming up. It's random teams, random decks, random maps, and the teams reset during every bracket. Like, for example, we typically get like 16 players for this kind of thing. I'd love to see 32, man. If we could get a round of 32 for this, I would be super, super hype. So imagine we have a round of 32, and you play with somebody in that, you win. Okay, round of 16 comes up. You get reshuffled into a new teammate for round of 16, etc., for round of 8. There's going to be a loser's bracket. I'm putting up 20 bucks of my hard-earned cash as prizes for you nerds in this. $10 Steam gift card to both winners of the winning team. It's going to be from me and AV Ultima. If you guys are new in the scene, AV Ultima is a phenomenal caster. He's been here way longer than I have. Made some really, really high-quality tournaments in the Clash of Comrades guys back in the day. And I still bug him from time to time to do a couple casting events with me. He's always happy to do it. I love casting with the guy. It's always a pleasure. So we will be on the microphone. Premium Bo will be behind the scenes, making sure everything runs smoothly. It's going to be July 13th, which I think is a Saturday, coming up here soon. 1 o'clock EST. It's going to be a lot of fun. If you're a new player, don't be shy. I feel like this is one of the more new player-friendly tournaments that we've done in the scene, as you can just kind of get matched up with whoever, you know. So it's not like you and your newbie buddy are going to go up against pro players in round 1 or anything like that. It's totally random. And yeah, I'm super hyped for it. Also, I would love to get another show going, not this Friday, but next Friday. So we just got that new ladder reset everybody's been wanting. We just got a brand new balance patch. So hit that ladder, guys. Submit some replays at ToothAndTailTV at gmail.com. Give me some ammo so I can do a show in like 10 days from now. You know, I typically try to do like 12 replays per show. You better do it next Friday, says this guy. Dude, I will totally do it next Friday. If the link didn't work, yeah, it doesn't work in the chat. Oh yeah, if you're watching and you want to see, well, yeah, that Google Doc was nice, Delthius, but how do I sign up? Under the stream you're watching right now, under Tooth and Tail events, if you read all that information, it says sign up here. If you click on where it says here, it'll bring you to our tournament Discord channel, and we can't use challenge or anything like that because this is kind of a weird tournament. So there's a hashtag sign up channel. Click that link, get in that sign up channel, ping either me, Delthius, or Premium Bo, and we will sign you up. And that's it, man. And we're gonna do a silly. I have a cowboy hat, okay? So I'm gonna write the names on a piece of paper. I'll either draw the names myself, or maybe I'll rope Casey, aka Thunder Squid, my wife, and Dana Whiting it, you know, like coming out and drawing a name for me. That'd be pretty funny. But either way, we're gonna draw the names live on stream. I know how to write an Excel formula or two and do it random, but I think it would be kind of cool to do the random hat drawing for the names. So, not even a top hat. Okay, listen, cowboy hat versus top hat. Maybe we need a vote. I don't have a top hat, but how expensive is a top hat? You know what? Hang on. Let's do something silly real quick. What is the quick vote thing? I'm forgetting the name of it. Straw poll. Okay, let's do a straw poll, you guys. I'm on it. What kind of hat should Delthius draw names from? Squid hat, cowboy hat, or top hat? Bam. Alright, did that work? Alright, listen guys, I just put a link in the chat. Straw poll. Let's do it. Alright, and with that straw poll, I do apologize for continuing to take so many breaks. I'm going to take another really quick break, vote on the straw poll, and then we'll do a couple more matches, and we'll go from there. So give me 1 second, guys. I'll be back in a minute. Okay, I'm sorry about that, guys. I am back. Okay. Squid Rig can't confirm. Oh, man. Alright, let's see. Do we have results yet? Are there a couple votes? Oh, everybody's saying Top Hat. You guys. Okay. Dude, 100%. 100% for Top Hat. Let me spam this link one more time to determine what kind of hat I should draw names out of. I actually do have a Top Hat. And then let's do a couple more. And we'll see how I'm feeling. I might take a little bit of a longer break after that, like 5 or 10 minutes. And, you know, if people are still hanging out and having fun, I might throw a couple more replays on the docket. Keep this thing going a little longer. I think I could do a little longer, so. I voted Squid Head, said somebody. Interesting. All right, I'll look at it in a second. Let's do one more game, and then I'll review the straw poll. In the left, we've got Kalaru. And his opponent to the right, Haru. Okay, Kalaru and Haru are kind of like the latest gen of Pokemon, you know, in like competitive Tooth and Tail. Like, we've had like all these generations of top players over time, and I feel like Haru and Kalaru over the past like 3 or 4 months have really been the guys you gotta look out for it. And I would throw this guy in there as well. But it's interesting. I feel like they grind a lot. They put in the work. Kalaru with no Fox or no MG or Drumfire this time around. But at the same time, I'm sure Kalaru and Haru are both. I think they're both American players, so they probably run into each other on the ladder a lot. So they're probably able to kind of experiment with different things from time to time, you know. Oh, Warpgate's looking at the Wolf Coins there. Oh, man, I forgot all about Wolf Coins, dude. I should have been doing some Wolf Coin betting tonight. That would have been fun. You're the heathen that voted Cowboy Hat. Oh, Kalaru is European. I'm sorry about that. I don't know why I thought you were USA. Maybe I just see you around in USA times. You just kind of typically stay up late or something. There's surprisingly a lot of Europeans that are into Tooth and Tail, man. Okay, so kind of cheeky builds from both players here. Quick tier 2s from both sides. Fast expansion here from Haru coming off the back of it. And we'll have to see how this game progresses from here. You should call it either. Hey man, Cowboy Hat was my vote. Like, I have a Squid Hat, a Top Hat, and a Cowboy Hat, and I was totally just gonna draw the names out of the Cowboy Hat. Like, that's what I was gonna go for. But you know what? I will be democratic here, as I am a common folk member, and let the people decide. Alright, so nothing super crazy yet. Both players just kind of with a wink and a nod to one another. Going up to a quick tier 2, going up to a second base rather quickly as well. And this is kind of an odd map. It looks surprisingly Kalaru favored. Especially with taking this gristmill here. It's going to be hard for Haru to get into that 3 base phase of this. But at the same time, with the deck composition that he has, he doesn't really need to get into that per se. He can try to get up like a Badger on half to full second base saturation and kind of go from there. So I haven't followed TnTTV forever. What's it like? Says Cold Warp Gates. Dude, honestly, we just got a brand new patch today with a ladder reset. And about a month ago, there was an 85% off Steam sale, which brought a lot of new players into the scene. So Tooth and Tail is actually in a really healthy spot right now. If you've been kind of watching or on the fence or been out of the loop for a couple months, like now's a pretty good time to get back into it. Just in general, I feel like we got a tournament coming up in a couple weeks, a 2v2 random tournament. That's going to be a lot of fun. So Kalaru committing a little bit more to Army here. Meanwhile, Haru is trying to get up to that full 16 farm saturation. And Kalaru is about to get the scout off and see exactly what's going on. He doesn't really need to see the main base of Haru. Like, he saw that eight farms are taking on that second base, right? So that's really all the information he needs. Meanwhile, Haru gets the full scout off, sees the wolf on the way, sees the half stat. He did get the scout on the second base, right? A little bit. So he sees that the second base was saturated slightly. Gets that wolf out, you know. So overall, I kind of like Haru's spot better because I don't think Kalaru is going to attack immediately unless Kalaru pulls off some kind of crazy timing attack with the wolf. You know, that's really, really clutch. I feel like Haru, since he got that second base economy up a little bit faster, might be in a better spot. However, Haru's really, really going to have to fight from here on out. You know, this we're starting to get into that transitioning into the 3 bases phase of the game. And Haru really doesn't have a good option for that. So it's kind of on Haru here to really make something happen. Haru hasn't built a single squirrel either. So I don't know if these guys are just being jokers this game or what. Maybe I wasn't being observant enough and he built some squirrels earlier and sold them off. But no, he's totally skimping on the squirrel front, instead opting to go for a lot of pigeons. It looks like he's trying to set himself up to possibly build a badger, but no, maybe Haru is using some 200 IQ play here and says, you know what, I know my opponent is going straight lizard. If I just micro these toads correctly, if I have a bunch of pigeons to keep the snakes and the skunks alive, I can take this fight. And Haru's moving forward right now. Both players throwing down that initial gas. Haru having to back up a little bit, but he's got so many pigeons here, he's not really worried about it. It looks like Haru's trying to find the right angle to just come in here and deliver a 1-2 punch with his army. He's floating a lot of money at this point. He doesn't have anything like moles to reinforce on the front lines. And here we go, the lizards run in and get demolished almost immediately. And Haru's just going to deny that third backup for now. Maybe this is Haru's kind of clever way of gaining access to a third base here in the 12 o'clock position. Hey, what's up, Miss Clicker? Hey, he was floating like 250 food, okay? Always good to see you, man. Miss Clicker's like, dude, that's not floating. Let me send you a replay. I'll show you some floating. Would have been better if the Steam sale was with the patch, in my opinion. And people talking about Eel being a developer. Yeah, yes and no. Like, I feel like if you're a new player, the patch isn't going to be as impactful for you. But at the same time, I can see the argument of, well, a patch timed up with the sale would kind of drive both new players and somebody who maybe played back in the day to try to pick it up again. You know, the patch kind of always makes things a little bit fresh. So I can kind of see where you're coming from, Dino. But I feel like the patch was really Eel's brainchild. It was really a lot of Mishi's work as well, and all the modders and testers that helped him out with that. We actually did a tournament on Mishi's mod relatively recently as well. But hold that thought, as a lot of skunk gas is coming in here. A couple falcons left in the sky. However, there's some snakes here from Haru. And what even is this game that we're watching? Haru refusing to build any squirrels, but keeping the pressure on. Kalaru trying to get that wolf out, but just doesn't have the money. And who is coming out on top here? It's hard to tell with so many pigeons, with so much skunk gas. So that's why I hate pigeons, says Clara. Dude, I don't blame you, man. Okay. Looks like Haru just really wants to keep this pressure on. I think this is a smart idea from Haru, right? Like, he's keeping this third base from Kalaru denied. Meanwhile, he's slowly but surely working on his own third base here in the 12 o'clock position. But man, not a single squirrel still. And it's kind of working out for him as long as he has enough snakes to get through this falcon line from Kalaru. But all the snakes fall from Haru here, and he's got to force back with so many skunks, but nothing to shoot up with. Is this going to be the tempo swing that Kalaru's been looking for? And I wonder if you're Kalaru, do you just like hard tech switch into Falcons, you know? It's kind of easier said than done at this point in the game though, because economies are getting so scrappy. Like, the second bases are practically mined out. First base has been long gone. And it's really coming down to third base from here. Kalaru's trying to keep this pressure on, but Haru has whipped up enough of a force to push him back from now. Kalaru's going to hard commit to this. If Kalaru can just knock out the snakes, there's only one remaining on the field for Haru. Kalaru starving, coming in here, going to try to seal the deal. Haru really doesn't have a whole lot left to his name. Just a snake and a couple toads at that base in the 12 o'clock. However, the clock is ticking for Kalaru. He's only got 40 seconds to win this game. You know, it takes 20 seconds for a gristmill to build, so he needs to move out soon. But no, Haru taps out, seeing the writing on the wall. You know, as weird as it sounds, if Kalaru made a single misstep and Haru actually stayed in that game, maybe he wins because that 12 o'clock base. I'm not sure, but nicely played from both sides. Okay, guys. Last replay of the night. Thank you so much, everybody, for tuning in. Don't forget about the 2v2 random tournament we got coming up. It's very new player friendly. If you want to sign up for that, the details are in the Tooth and Tail events section. Underneath the stream you're watching right now, there's a link, the word here, you can click on, and that'll bring you to the Google Doc with the information. I'm sorry, that'll bring you to the Discord where you can sign up. And what else? I want to start doing this more often, I've decided. Maybe we'll try to go back to like once a week if I get the problem is I can't do the show without you guys. The show is 100% community driven, kind of for the community, by the community. And I know it sounds lame to say, but I literally can't do this without the participation of the viewers and the players in the scene. So please submit new replays to ToothAndTailTV at gmail.com on the latest patch. I have a nice archive of old patch replays, but this is probably going to be the last show I do with those. I don't like to bleed old patch content too much into the new patch content. I don't mind doing it today because the patch literally launched today, but you know, the show that I'm planning on doing like 10 or 12 days from now, ideally that would all be on the new patch. So don't be shy guys. Do you want my beating Jet compilation? Oh, dude, I would absolutely love to see a bunch of games where Jet Erickson loses. Are you kidding me? Send them my way, guys. Send any replay, any skill level, competitive games, trolling games, games where you're just having fun with your friends. ToothAndTailTV at gmail.com. And if I get enough replays in the next 10 days, I will be doing another show either on the 5th or 6th of July. And if there's interest and you guys are showing up like you did tonight and sending me replays and stuff, I'll start doing this again more often. Because, to be honest, I have a lot of fun doing it, and I've kind of missed it lately. So this is a good incentive for me to play more, just to get some epic replays. There you go, man. And another good incentive is that the Season 3 ladder just reset. So you got to get back on the top of that. So without any further ado, guys, let us hop into the last replay of the night, match number 12. All right, spawning in the bottom with only a pigeon as tier 1, we've got Lore Friendly stealing my heart here. And in the top, his opponent, Mr. Ziggy. Okay, only pigeon on tier 1. I'm super hyped for this. I could not have randomly selected a better replay to end the night on. Meanwhile, Mr. Ziggy's just kind of going for that tried and true composition. This looks like a fine patch 1.4 deck to me. Maybe the balloon's slightly questionable, but at the same time, I kind of get it. He's got a nice scroll. Pigeon Mole Skunk Push if he wants it. He's got the Falcon to scale into the later game, and he's got balloons for various reasons, like to zone out the opposing ferrets or foxes or skunks, or build a big balloon wall in the late game. I mean, or get some extra vision. You know, there's a lot of things you can do with the balloon. Meanwhile, Lore Friendly's up to no good, totally. Like, what is this deck from Lore Friendly, man? I'm loving it. 100%. Like, Pigeon only. When's the last time I saw Pigeon only for Tier 1? That's a tough one. Like, I've seen decks without Tier 1 altogether, but to only have your Tier 1 as Pigeon is really interesting to me. Going for that 8-farm snake kind of makes some sense here. I like the turret fox combo. I think that's always a fun thing to do. You see that all the time when you random. Dude, that's true. To be fair, I feel like Miss Clicker is one of the best random players. Like, I would tune into his streams when he was going hard on Tooth and Tail. There was kind of a period where Miss Clicker would stream like right before me. So I would go on at like 8 p.m. EST, and Miss Clicker would be going on like an hour or two before then. So he'd kind of be like wrapping up right when I started. So, you know, I would kind of watch his stream before I would go on, or he would watch my stream after. And I gotta hand it to him, man. You would play just random decks against like good players and actually win a pretty decent percentage of the time. Mr. Ziggy over here has been hiding a couple moles. Although I don't feel like either player has really done a lot of due diligence on scouting, to be perfectly honest. Like, Mr. Ziggy's got to think something's weird, because he did scout 2 Tier 2 Warrens off the back. But Lore Friendly just is not afraid at all, man. He opens up with double Tier 2 into a Campfire, into a Gristmill. Like, this is absolutely bananas. This is just like breaking every rule that we know, right? Like, he's being incredibly greedy on so many fronts, and he might actually get away with it here. Yeah, Misk needs to get into a certain tournament. That is very true. Screw the rules, I have food. Dude, I love it. You're damn right here, Lore Friendly. Let's see if you can make it work here, as Mr. Ziggy is not happy with the shenanigans that he's sniffing out in this match. Moving forward with a bunch of Tier 1, manages to knock out a couple snakes, but Lore Friendly holds strong for the time being. Midgar saying he dared Mishi to do nothing but defense and Akasha. Yeah, but Mishi's so good with Akasha, man. God, that reminds me of like the old school Pile builds, where Pile would build like a lizard and nothing but defense and just wreck on people. And it was so good. Okay. Okay, this is a super weird game, but so far, Lore Friendly has managed to stabilize here to get up a decent amount of Tier 2, but this is a nice squirrel, mole, pigeon army composition getting onto the face of these snakes. These snakes doing a lot of poison damage, but Mr. Ziggy comes out on top. One Falcon and one Dream here from Lore Friendly. Able to drive the units back from the time being. Staying in the game for now. Mr. Ziggy just really relying on a lot of Tier 1. Mr. Ziggy's kind of playing more straight up. The Lore Friendly is trying to tell us to take out our notebooks here and learn a thing or two. Like, this is really unique coming out of Lore Friendly so far. But Mr. Ziggy, again, is just kind of pushing in. And I think this kind of thing is really healthy. It's like, it's really important to do crazy strategies, but can your crazy strategy hold up to the Tier 1 push? You know what I mean? And that's kind of what we're finding out here. Like, this is actually really nice stress testing for this this crazy strat that Lore Friendly is trying to pull off here, as Mr. Ziggy is literally doing like the exact right answer if you think about it. You know, he's keeping up an economy. He's just building nothing but Tier 1, as Lore Friendly is trying to hold on with his cavalcade of Tier 2 units here. But I think Mr. Ziggy is getting too much more momentum. Losing that second base might be too much. Lore Friendly's got to tap out. And Mr. Ziggy wins with the anti-fun police. With a whole bunch of Tier 1. Manages to get in there and knock him down. But my tip of the hat definitely goes to Lore Friendly there for the style points. We don't speak of the pile build, says Miss Glicker. Okay, guys. I think I'm gonna call it. That was a lot of fun. I was considering going a little longer, but I've almost gone for 3 hours already. And I do have to go to that whole job thing for money in the morning. But thank you so much, everybody, for tuning in. It's really encouraging to me to see such good viewership when I'm randomly starting a stream on a Monday night. So I really appreciate it, guys. To me, that says the community likes what I'm doing, wants to see more of it. So if I can challenge y'all out there, man, take it a step further. Send me some replays at ToothAndTailTV at gmail.com. If the replays keep coming in, I will continue to produce content more regularly. I promise you guys that. I really have a blast hanging out here, chatting with you guys, and talking about some matches of Tooth and Tail. Don't forget about our 2v2 random tournament, guys. It's going to be a lot of fun. It is a competitive event with prize pool on the line and all that kind of stuff, but it's kind of low-key and chill, and we're going to have a good time. Oh, I got to see what happened with that straw poll. View results. All right, it is overwhelmingly the top hat from what I see. People want that top hat, man. There is a couple votes for other things as well, but it looks like we're doing the top hat for sure. So yeah, so that's basically it. Sign up. As P Boop said, sign up for my dumb tournament. It's gonna be a lot of fun, guys. If you haven't played Tooth and Tail in a minute, now's a good time to get back in there. We got a great influx of new players. We got a brand new patch. We got a Season 3 ladder reset. Congratulations to Illuminatus, man, for becoming a dev for Pocketwatch Games. Super cool to see. And I think let's go say hi to Best Sakia NA, man. He's a good friend of mine. He's another big content producer for Tooth and Tail. He's playing some War Groove right now. I think he's really been getting into that game. He really likes making custom maps, and that game's great for it. So let's go say hi to him. Let's give him a big woof in the process. So say woof when we raid, guys, for the fun. Everybody likes to make fun of me for how I say woof, so that's kind of the meme. So we'll woof in there into Best Sakio stream. You're all a bunch of beautiful nerds. I love you guys. Let's do this again real soon. Shoot me some replays so we can do it. And see ya.